Great. Such an exciting day to join you all. And I'm happy to be here. I'm pretty sure everybody knows me, but then for the sake of posterity and those who may watch the video later who probably do not know me, let me just go ahead and introduce myself. I am Ahonia Obed, and I graduated from ALX SE, I think less than 3 months ago, which was in June 2023. Like on 16th June, that's when I completed ALX SE. And for the past 3 months, I've been working. No, okay, I actually started working with ALS before completing it. So I started working with ALS in April of this year. I started my journey in ALS on 9th May 2022. And the wonderful thing is that all of these things is available on Twitter. Like I documented everything on Twitter. So right from the first day that I joined ALS, I tweeted about it and subsequently tweeted about the things that we're learning and all the good things that we're doing as well. And I'm happy that when I look back to the whole journey and reflect on it, I'm really excited about how far I have come looking back at as far back as the time that I started and all the wonderful things that have happened to me, the wonderful people that I've gotten the opportunity to connect with, and many more other things that I can't even mention on the stream right now. But most importantly, I'm so appreciative of the fact that I get to live a life of impact and being part of ALS, and even right now working as a staff in ALS has amplified the kind of impact that I am able to make. And that is something that I am genuinely grateful for. And I think it is one of the reasons why you decided to invite me to a session like this. And I am so grateful for the opportunity. I don't take these things for granted. And for that matter, when I show up like this, I want to give my best. So today, I'm happy to take all your questions and respond to the best of my knowledge to every question that you ask me. And as I have already established with you, if you have a question, you go ahead and um, raise your hand. Zoom has that feature to allow you raise your hand. So you raise your hand, I call you, then we have our chit chat. Somebody said I should talk about the project before I start asking you for the questions. And I want to presume that by project, this person means Printf project because I learned Cohort 18 is doing Printf project. And that is one project that I have gotten a lot of queries on for some time now. I think right from when we did ours. Fortunately for our time, I think what happened was that I had a YouTube video about me doing the project. I actually live streamed myself and my partner doing the project. I think we did that stream on Twitch during that period. The first video was like 5 hours long. You can imagine. But then a lot of people watched the video. So those times I didn't used to answer questions concerning it because I'll just point people in the direction of check the video out. But eventually I had to take down that video for issues relating to copyright. And since then, I've gotten a lot of questions about the project, and I usually desist from answering questions concerning Printf because Printf project holds bad memories for me. When I say bad memories, because of Printf, I mean that particular live stream that I did, which the video was available publicly, I was removed from the ALX SE program. So some of you may not know, but at one point in time in ALS, I was withdrawn or dismissed for that particular video that I had. And I had to write back to ALS and apologize and let them understand. Like, unlike any of the videos that you see out there, I never come out to solve like tags in ALS. My goal is always to help people understand concepts so that they will be able to apply what they learn. And if you watch any of the sessions that I host, you realize that never do I go and open the intranet and say, okay, this is a question, let's solve it. No. And I keep telling, I used to tell the people who were participating in those sessions that I am not here to help you become ALS tax solvers. Rather, I'm here to help you become software engineers. Because at the end of the day, when you go out there, it's not about solving ALS tax. It's about understanding the concept and being able to apply those concepts. So that was my end goal. And when I apologized and made that clear, the only reason I did what I did by live streaming myself is because of the concept of learning in public that I was following, and I'm an advocate for learning in public. So one of the goals, I mean, I felt that if I am able to document these ones, not just in writing, but then video evidences of myself doing these things, it becomes easier for me to convince anybody that I can do this. Like if I tell you that I can really write this code or I wrote this code and there is video evidence of me doing it, then it becomes easy for me to convince you. And that was the reason why I did that. So when I apologized, they reinstated me on a condition that I take down those videos, and I had no problem taking those videos down. So I did. And since then, I desist from answering questions relating to Printf project because of that particular incident. However, now I've completed, I'm no longer in the program, but then I'm a staff of the program. So I have to do my best. I think always, I think yesterday I was on a live session and I was telling those who were there that one of my key goals right now is to ensure that learners get the best experience as much as possible. And being a learner myself, or once a learner, I know what it takes or what it feels like to be in your position. Therefore, it is easy for me to understand what you are going through and be able to push for a solution to that. So, to answer your concern about the Printf project, the key thing that I always say is that make sure you understand what printf function is before you are able to build a clone of anything at all. You have to know exactly how that thing works. So for instance, if I ask you to build me a car and you don't know the inner workings of a car, there's no way you're going to be able to build it. If all you know is that a car moves, that is all you know, but you don't know that the car has an engine. The car takes in fuel, and when the fuel goes in, this is what the fuel does in the engine. Like you have no idea about that. There is no way you'll be able to build me a car. So the first thing you want to learn to be able to build me a car is to break down that car and see exactly what is in there, how this car is able to work, what goes on in there for it to fully function the way it functions. Then you will be able to build me a car. It's the same thing when we talk about a Printf project and every other project that you are going to be doing, like the major projects that you are going to be doing in ALX SE. So please and please again, do not just jump onto solving the tasks if you do not really know what the printf is about. Like what are the nuances when it comes to using the printf function and all of that. So I think someone asked for a similar advice during yesterday's stream, and I went on to develop a concept page and added it to your tasks yesterday. That will help you understand the nitty-gritties when it comes to using the printf function. So please go back to that task and see the concept pages that you have been provided. I added a new one yesterday called Printf function brief. I think that's the name I gave it. So please take a look at it, go through it, and make sure you understand every part of that particular project. Then, why is somebody selling in here? Oh my God. How? Yeah, so in your project, as I've said, there's supposed to be a concept page. Like, check the project, you see concept page, printf function brief. All right. Then I have detailed how the printer function works. Try and understand that. Then based on that, you can go ahead to build it. Okay, now I know that it's supposed to do this. I'm supposed to handle this and that. Then you can go ahead and do that as well. I said it is on the project. The concept page is on the project itself. Remember, I work with ALX SE. So I'm talking about ALS, your intranet. I am the curriculum analyst. So I have the opportunity to add content when the need arises. So yesterday when some of you asked me on the live stream, I did that. Okay, so that is the intro part. I hope the person that asked that I talk about the project, you are satisfied now. Now we can start having our discussion. So if you want to speak, just raise your hand. I'll call you, then you're mute. Let me confirm. And if anyone is by their PC and can confirm that the concept page is public now, just let me know. Confirm that for me and I'll be grateful. Booba girl. Hi, go ahead. Yep. Booba girl, can you hear me? If you can hear me, you can go ahead. Okay, it is there. Great. Thank you so much. Great. Yeah. So please take your time and go through that, and hopefully you'll be able to build your own version of the printf by going through it. Yep. Questions and answers. Booba girl, your hand is up. I've called you, but oh, you have issues with mic. Sorry then. You can leave and join in afterwards. Otherwise, you can put your question in there. All right. So anyone with a question? Daniel, yes, Daniel. Yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sir. Pardon, sir. Actually, my question goes thus. What happens when my partner and I, like in the Printf project, when partner and I, we've created our files and everything, then well, it now maybe deletes the repo and maybe mistakenly or something. Are we going to start all over again, or I just be like, okay, I just hands up?
For as long as your repo is not there, there is nothing that we can really do about it, right? So you have to make sure that the repo is there. And to if the repo has been deleted, oh my, if the repo has been deleted, that means that the person deleted it on GitHub, right? So if you have a local version of it, you can reinstate it by now pushing back to GitHub. Like there will be no upstream. So you have to now create a new repo and push it there. That would be the best thing. But if you have deleted, the person has deleted it on GitHub and you also don't have it locally, then that is a problem. It is gone. I don't know if there is any other way to retrieve it. Yeah, I don't. I hope that answers your question anyway.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yeah, Olivet.
Hi. Good
Hello.
afternoon, Doctor.
Yeah, good afternoon.
It's nice to be on your life.
Ha 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 ha. Nice to have you too.
No problem. Please, I have a small question. Yeah. So,
Right.
it's still about this Printf
Mm.
project.
Mm-hmm.
Um, initially, I was confused about the whole thing. I didn't even know like where to start and all. But
Okay.
I'm hoping that the newly added content would help me navigate through that part. All right.
No.
So, but I have a small issue. Let's say, okay, in the situation where my partner has already like, I just woke up and saw that he invited me on GitHub, and I checked the whole file, and he has done basically almost all the files. I just had to accept the invite. So, what am I expected to do afterwards? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
But if the person see at the end of the day, what's most important is for me, what's most important is for you to understand and be able to do something by yourself. So if the person has done everything, one, I will be skeptical. Project was released, I think, yesterday or last 2 days. So I'll be skeptical about where this person has gotten the code from. Because if this person has cheated, Kimba will flag you and the two of you will be flagged. And that
Mm,
goes against you. The next time you are flagged again, you are out of the program. So that would be a big concern for me. The second concern would be, do I really understand what my partner has done? Otherwise, we need to have that discussion. So if I mean, as you go forward, you'd the other projects which I have some sort of videos on, you'd realize that I meet with my group to discuss. And even with the Printf project, that's what we did. We are live, we are discussing. The partners, that is, we were two. We are together and we are deliberating on this so that we all learn. That's the essence of the partnership.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
if the
sure.
person has just written the code and submitted, I would rather want to engage this person. Probably they know it. If they know it, that is great. They should teach me because that's the essence of having a partner. So if my
Okay.
partner already knows it, then they should be ready to teach me to also understand the code. And if they have already finished everything, that means that there is nothing more for me to do, which doesn't make sense because project was released less than 2 days ago and somebody has finished everything. How did they approach it and all? So in those instances, I'll still want to engage the person and probably try my hands on writing some of the code myself, making some changes here and there just to contribute my quota to the code. Because at the end of the day, I want to be able to point to the project in my repo and say that, yeah, I was a contributor to this particular repo. What is your contribution? In fact, on GitHub, you can see the exact contributions you made in terms of the number of commits that you made to the repo.
Uh,
People can see that, we can measure that. So you realize that as
oh.
part of the requirement, you are required to do around 50-50. That's 50%, 50% of commits messages, sort of. Okay. So please let's the goal not be on, hey, we are finishing, but then you are learning. Like, let that be the goal, that at the end of the day you are learning all the things that you need. Because if you really do not focus on understanding how to build this, not necessarily the building parts, but then all the nitty gritties, the concepts that you need to be able to build this, you would move on to simple shell, which comes in a couple of weeks, and you are going to struggle the more. And that frustration will now lead to other frustrations. And very soon, nobody will even force you to want to stop. You yourself will make a decision to want to stop. So it is very good for you to now take the time and try and understand everything that is required of you to be able to build it. If you are fortunate, you have a partner who knows, then leverage them to fully understand the concept so that you will be able to do it. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. It does. It does. So
Yeah.
do I need to clone it to my own machine, my own space now? Do I have to clone it
So
with my own name or with his name? That's one part I'm having issues with. So that I can check the code out in my own local machine.
okay. So I think for group projects, there's usually this point on the project that many people misconstrue or do not really understand it for what it is. So right now, as we're talking, I thought about it and I'm like, this is probably something I should go and change. So I may go and update the information. On the project, you see that there is a part where we've written GitHub and there is an instruction on what you can do and what you cannot do. Currently, it reads there should be one project repository per group. The other members do not fork or clone the project to ensure only one of the team has the repository in their GitHub account. Otherwise, you risk scoring 0%. Let me explain what this means. At the end of the day, we don't want the two of you to have the repo in your individual accounts as at the time that the checker is checking the code. Otherwise, the checker can take it that you have copied. Okay. One person, that's the ideal situation. You are learning a skill of collaboration. And when you're collaborating, like let me give a perfect example. If you are contributing to an open source project, you would not necessarily have the project in your GitHub account. Okay. But then you should still be able to contribute to that project and it will be added as your contribution on the project. Anybody that goes to that project will see that you have contributed there. So that is what it means. We don't want only one person should create the repo, but then to be able to get it on your local, I think this is a point where you need to understand the difference between forking and cloning. So if at this point you don't understand the two terminologies, then that is a big problem. So let me just assume assume that it isn't very clear and go ahead and explain it. Hopefully it becomes clearer for every one of you. So when I say fork a repo, what it means is that you are creating a copy of someone's repo in your own account, GitHub account. Hope that makes sense. When you say fork a repo, you are creating a copy of that person's repo in your own GitHub account. So when I go to that person's account, I'll see that the repo is there. When I come to your account, I'll see that the same repo is in your account. So if you do this, we are seeing it as duplicates and you risk getting 0. The checker may give you 0 because it looks out for just one repo for the two of you. Okay. When we say clone, in simple terms, you can think of clone as downloading the repo from the person's account onto your local system. So that is the difference. When you are forking, you are copying it to your own GitHub account. When you are cloning, you are rather downloading it to your local system. So you are allowed to clone it, but you are not allowed to fork it. Does that make sense? You're allowed to clone, that is, you're allowed to download it to your local system, but you are not allowed to fork it. That means you are not allowed to have a copy of the repo in your own accounts because then two of you have the same repo, which is a problem. But the checker only is able to look at your GitHub account. The checker cannot check your local computer. So you are allowed to clone it to your local computer, but not to have it in your own accounts. I hope everybody gets this. I hope everybody gets this. I try my best to break it down, so I hope you get this.
Sure.
After the checker has done all the checking and you have been scored, especially after second deadline, you're allowed to go ahead and fork it and keep it in your account. But for as long as you have not gone beyond second deadline, please do not try it. Don't go and fork. Even if I've seen that some of you are not even aware. When you are on somebody's repo and you make a mistake and go and click some of the keys on your keyboard, it's going to fork it. Like if there is a key or you press anything that seems as if you want to edit something in the person's account, it's going to fork it to your own account. So now maybe you are on your best repo on GitHub and you are clicking something there. Eventually you clone that, you fork that to your own repo, and it's there. Every day I see people forking my repo, and I'm pretty sure that some of them are not even aware that they are forking my repo. For that matter, I've set my printf project and my simple shell project to private so that people don't worry themselves right now, you know. But the point is that if you have forked another person's repo, even if it is not your partner's repo, now you still have that same ALX underscore whatever repo in your account, which is not allowed. So please be mindful that until the checker has checked the code, don't have a copy of that. If you are the one who created the repo, that's fine. But I'm talking about the partner who wasn't the one who created a repo, the partner who was added as what is it called? A contributor, okay, or a collaborator. So that is what I'm referring to. Please do not fork the repo. Nobody should fork my repo. Why are they forking the repo set? No, so I mean, practically forking a repo is not a bad thing. Okay. You have seen your repo, you've made it public. The moment you make a repo public, it means that people can have access to it. If you don't want people to have access to the repo, you have to make it private. So as soon as a repo, but in ALX SE, your repos have to be public because the checker has to check it. If it is private, the checker will not be able to check it. But as soon as a repo is public, it means anybody at all can have access to it. So if I come across any code base, anything on GitHub that I think I'm interested in, but then I do not want to mess up with the person who has its account or their content that they have there, what I need to do is to fork that into my own account so that I can play with it in my own account. Does that make sense? So I don't touch that person's account. So I've seen you've done something wonderful. I want to learn from it. Maybe you kept some notes in there and I want to learn from it. It's okay for me to go and fork it and have it in my account so that I work on it from my account if I want to try it myself. So it is perfectly fine to fork a repo, but then for the sake of ALX SE and for projects that is ongoing, if a project is ongoing and you are yet to hit the second deadline, please desist from forking anybody's else repo. When it comes to cloning, so let me answer Daniel's question and we move on to the next question. When it comes to cloning somebody's repo, pay attention. You're cloning somebody's repo. So you have to open the person's repo and click on, maybe I should demonstrate this for you all to see. Let me see. Share my screen. Come in, let me go to GitHub and share my screen. Share screen to... Okay. So I hope my screen is visible and you can see. Let me just take any of my, let's say this. So assuming you want to contribute on this particular project that I'm doing, you come, right now I'm assuming that I'm not the one on this repo, someone else. You are interested in the code base. So when you come here and copy this code, whether you are using HTTPS or SSH, anyone that you are using, just copy the link and use this to clone. So if I want to clone this, I'll just copy this and do git clone then this URL on my computer. If I want the HTTPS, then obviously when I copy this, I have to insert my what is it called, personal access token before I clone it, and I'll do git clone this link, including my personal access token in there to clone it. This means that to be able to clone it, you have to make sure that my name is in here, because you see that for both links, my name is in there. This is the URL to the repo. The repo does not belong to you, so you don't have to change this to your name. If you change this to your name, you're not going to find the repo. Or if you change it to your name and you have a similar repo on your computer, then you're going to clone the one that you have on your repo, on your GitHub account. Okay, I hope it makes sense. So if you're cloning somebody's repo, make sure that you just go and copy the URL from the person, and that URL will have the person's username. But when you are cloning it with HTTPS, the personal access token to be used is your own personal access token. The reason the personal access token is your own is that it is your access to GitHub. That is your password for GitHub. Your personal access token is your password for GitHub. So I want to clone somebody's repo, but then I have to authenticate to GitHub that yes, this is me, that I'm trying to clone something. I have an account on GitHub already, and I'm just trying to clone somebody's repo. Once it is public, it is allowed. If it is private, you can't, and you won't be able to clone it. You get it? So I hope that answers your question. Just leave the person's name inside here. Just come here. So for those of you who didn't see, when you visit the repo, you click on this green button, the code here, then copy this if you are using HTTPS. If you are using SSH, just copy this and you are good to go. So with SSH, you wouldn't need to use your PAT, but you would have had to have set the SSH connection to GitHub. If you are using HTTPS, then you have to add your personal access token before the GitHub part. So your personal access token at GitHub. If you don't want to do that, then if you don't want to do that always, then you have to set up SSH connection on your computer to GitHub. I think I wrote an article on this some time back. Maybe you check my blog, you would find an article on that. Let me see. SSH. Yeah, how to connect your computer to GitHub with SSH. So if you haven't done that and you're interested in using SSH, this article here will guide you on how to do that, so that subsequently when you want to clone something, you just grab this link here and do git clone, then pass this link without needing to generate a PAT. Okay, so good. I hope I've answered your question. I can stop sharing my screen now. Stop sharing. All right. The link to the article. Okay. The link to the article is this. But then you could easily find my blog at blog.elniaobed.com, and you get access to all the other ones that I've written. So I think I hope I answered. Right now, I don't know the order in which you people join, so I'm just going to call anybody at random based on my list here. Christian is on top. I don't know whether it's last or so. Christian, please go ahead.
Hello, doctor.
Hi, Christian.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
It's a privilege meeting you. I realized I tried to commit to a repo
Okay.
when I was collaborating,
Okay.
and then I had an issue whereby they were telling me I couldn't merge. So
Mm.
in trying to solve that, I used git pull origin master, then
Mm-hmm.
double hyphen, allowed dot unrelated histories. Please,
Okay.
do you get me?
Yeah,
Was
I'm
that the right
listening.
thing to do? Because after that, I realized that anytime I commit, it allowed me to commit and to pull.
Oh, okay.
So I want to know if that was the right thing to do.
The command you mentioned is not one I'm familiar with. I don't think I've encountered it before. So if it solved the problem and you don't have any issues as it stands now, then that is fine. Because
Okay.
there are some of the things that until you encounter that problem, you will never know how to solve it. Because I wouldn't randomly just go and be searching, how do I solve this problem when I've never encountered that problem. So if you are still having any difficulties anywhere, then we can talk about it. But if there are no difficulties and everything is working fine now, that is good. And maybe you'd want to keep that and probably even write an article on how you solve that. That is how I think anyway. Like anytime I struggle to do something and I eventually figure it out, I want to document that so that the next time somebody else is facing it, they easily find something that is addressing the issue. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you very much, please.
you're welcome. All right, let me pick the next person. Next on my list, Michael. Hi, Michael.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good day.
So I wanted to ask, about the project.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of know how to like find my way around the printer function, but I don't know how many files we are going to create. Like I don't know how the number of files. Are we going to and merge all the handlers into a single file or create a different file for different each of the handlers? Like
Okay.
I'm kind of lost in that part.
Okay. So I think that's a question well noted. Maybe I'm going to answer you anyway, but I'm just writing it down. I'll probably add that as FAQ on the concept page so that everybody knows it, how many files to create. So in order to solve produce an answer to the project, this is how you should think about it. You're allowed to create as many files as you want. The checker is only interested in testing your code and running it, because this is how the checker is going to test the code. It's going to pick your custom printf that you have created and say, okay, test case one, I'm printing, say, A plus B. What is the output? Is it the same as what the checker is expecting? If it is the same, then that's test case pass. Then it takes another test case, prints. So it's just using your printf function, your custom printf function, as if it was like the normal printf function. So it doesn't care about the files that you created or anything. Like the checker doesn't care about anything you did. All it cares about is that it's going to run your code, okay? That is compile your code and run it with specific test cases. And if it gives the exact output that it's looking for, then it has passed. So what is important is that build a functional printf. That's what is important. Whether you use 300 files or one file or 30 files is totally up to you. But the reason you probably cannot use one file is because Auntie Betty is watching you. Auntie Betty is watching you. And he's saying that one script should not be more than, if I remember correctly, 40 lines. Is that it? I think so. Once one each file that you create or function, I don't remember exactly what it was, should not be more than a
I think
certain
it is
number.
5 functions per file.
Okay, so once you have those things, you know that those are the requirements. Okay, so you make sure that you are meeting those requirements. But other than that, you're allowed to call your files anything and create as many files as you want. If you want to create folders and put things in, it is totally up to you. For as long as we can run the file, we can compile the code and run the main file for it to work. yeah, testing the files, especially the main.c. What exactly are you referring to? Okay, so next person, Chim. I hope I pronounce the name well. I struggle with pronouncing names, but I'm trying my best.
Okay,
Chim.
yes, good afternoon. Yes, Chin.
Yeah, great,
Um,
great.
okay, good afternoon. I'm from Nigeria, from the south of Nigeria.
Okay, happy
Um,
to connect with you here.
Nice to meet you, sir. I've learned a lot in just a few minutes. This is the first time
Mm.
I'm coming across your channel.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I see. That
thank
that
you very
means
much.
that no wait. Let me let me punish you before we continue. That means that you didn't read the your first project on C programming, first day of C programming. It means you didn't do that project because the project was created by myself, and I
Okay,
remember I added my channel then. I give some other channels as well. Anyway, that's on a lighter side. I added it there so that at least, I mean, I keep saying that if you know where there is value, it's always good to give it to the people. And those who have been joining me on my daily live streams know this. I say they keep saying, and those of you who are in Nigeria would appreciate. I watched this Nigerian comedian Brain Jota a skit that
okay,
Brain Jota did, and he said he doesn't understand why you people say there is light at the end of the tunnel. It means that you went to the end of the tunnel, you saw that there was light there. Why did you leave it at the end? Why didn't you bring it to the front the front of the tunnel? Okay, so when we have seen that, oh, there is value here, you people can get this I mean, this is good for you. I try as much as possible to bring it closer. That's why I created that my first day of C programming and added that as well. Yeah, but please go ahead. Sorry for
okay, thank you. Okay, I wanted to ask a question. I understand the part about the I just have a little question about the collaboration part.
Mm.
After the cloning part, what else? How does your partner, does it mean that if your partner is working on the same project as you, that's the Printf, after cloning and then it's just to push back to that repo, I mean, as a collaborator, or how does that work? I'm maybe confused.
Okay. Yeah. So when you create, I think in the first place you need to really understand what Git is all about and what the concept of version control is all about. One of the key things that version control allow us to do, for which we are choosing to even do version control, is the fact that it allows us to easily collaborate with people. Okay. So when you clone the repo, every one of you, even in, especially now that we work remotely, right? I the various companies that you work. So I can give an example of working with ALX SE. I am not together with all the other developers, but when I write my code, they should also have access to it. How is that possible? That is through the Git that we are using as a version control. And GitHub is a
Okay,
central repository, you know. So GitHub is just the central hub that we are all pushing code to. This means that whoever created the repo is also going to clone it to their local machine, and I will also clone. And I said clone is just downloading it to your computer. And once you push
yeah,
any updates that you have made to the central repo, it means they can now have access to it. So anytime you are working with other people on the same repo, what is very important is that before you do any push, please do a pull so that if they have made any update, you get the current update before you push your code. Do you get it?
okay,
So you make all your
yes,
changes on your local and you are supposed to push to GitHub. Once you push it to GitHub, this other person, your partner, somewhere else on the continent,
mhm,
will also be able to pull that update that you have added to their computer. But in order to
okay,
avoid merge conflicts, always make sure that you do a git pull before you push. because even
Push.
sometimes I even recommend that do a git pull before you even commit on your local to be able to now begin pushing, so that you always have like the fresh copy of the code base in the repo. Okay. And one other thing
Okay.
is you have to learn to use branches. That is like one of the most important things. So practically, this is how everything works. Let me use my work, ALS as an example. There is a branch that is in charge of, say, the checker code, okay? The things that the checker has to do. If I mistakenly go and push code directly to that branch, it's going to affect like the project that is going on. So we are not allowed to do that. Anytime I want to make changes to the checker code, I have to create a branch and work in that branch, push that branch, then ask the head of the tech team to review the code that I have submitted. And if they agree that everything is correct and everything is functional, they will merge it to the main branch. So please,
Okay, pull request.
Yeah, you make a pull request, or commonly called PR. You make a PR and they will merge it. So I know that now you are new to all of these things, so it becomes a bit challenging. But let's start getting into that frame of mind, so that with time it becomes the norm, because that's how we actually work on the field. Okay, you create the main branch that is the main part where the code is. We can actually protect the main branch. In a real world case, the main branch is protected so that you can't directly push code to the main branch. You have to push your code to the new branch that you create, and only when it has been merged will it show in your main branch. Even right now, my personal projects that I do, that's how I do them. Like I always set the main branch as a secured branch. That's like the final thing. That's more like the production one, but the development one will be a different branch. Then when I am satisfied that the changes that I've made is okay, I now merge it with the main branch. However, if you are not working like that, then make sure you are always git pulling before you get push. And that is applicable to both partners. Every one of you should make sure that you get pull before you get push. And in that way, you avoid a lot of the conflicts, the merge conflicts that can punish you very much. Yeah. So I hope your question is answered.
Hello, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank
Great.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hello, sir. Good
Welcome.
afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. Who am I talking with?
Yes, sir. This Onyeka,
Gerard.
sir.
Okay,
Gerard.
Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. Actually, I want to ask a question regarding the project, sir.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So, regarding the first task, you were asked to create a printf and print
Mhm.
the values and also return the length. Are we going to do that for the list of the tags? As in from tag 0 to tag 14, are we going to always return the length of the printed value?
So this is what I can tell you,
Okay.
that maybe it's been a while, so, and I haven't really read the tax in a while now. But this is what I can tell you. The tax that you've been given in the Printf project is just a guide to help you. The ideal thing is, we say build a Printf project, like clone, and you just go and build it without any guide. But then we have given you an idea of how these things work practically. So if I on my own, this when everyone talks is louder, but your voice is a bit low. Really?
Okay, I'm hearing you, sir. I'm hearing you, sir.
Okay, sure.
All right, sir. All right, sir.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is this, like in a real world situation,
all right,
you have like the project, you want to clone Printf, you want to create your own version of the Printf. So you go and figure it out how you want to do it. But then you have to be able to break it down and say, okay, this is the printf. The smallest portion of the printf is that, okay, it's able to print just any string that we pass to it. So let me start from there. Then afterwards, what's next? Maybe the modifiers, okay, format specifiers. Let me consider those ones. Any other thing, okay. So that is why we've been able to break those ones down into various tasks. So you see that these tasks are just like steps that will guide you to finally build a comprehensive functional printf.
Wow.
So
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's not a matter of whether I should maintain this throughout. You are just building on top of the knowledge that you have, like where you started from. You are just building on top of it. So your printf has to be functional by the time that you have gone through all the tasks. You have to now have a printf that is able to do all of these things that the various tasks are requiring of you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you, sir.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Let me call on the list, I think, Odetunde Oluwa Bayilo. Yeah, hi. Hello.
Concerning
Odetunde.
cloning,
Come again,
yes,
sorry, I'm
nice to meet
struggling.
you. Yes, concerning cloning, can
Concerning
you hear me?
cloning, yeah.
Yes, I think when you try to clone with SSH
Mm-hmm.
using someone else's repo, it doesn't work
No,
because
it's
I think the SSH,
mm-hmm.
but does it work also? Because I think the SSH was created for that person's host name. So if you are not trying to use SSH, it doesn't work on your own local machine.
No, that shouldn't be a problem at all. The SSH is what when you connected to you authenticated with GitHub service. So you should be able to clone anything on GitHub. At least to the best of my knowledge. Yeah. I probably haven't. No, but even yesterday I cloned. Okay. Yeah, but before you clone, so this is the point. Before you clone, they would have added you as what a contributor to the
Contributor.
project.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you've been added to as a contributor, you have the right to clone it. Because just yesterday I cloned a repo that I've been added as a contributor to, and my PC is connected through SSH. So I just go ahead and clone it. Yeah, so that should work.
No problem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So far, it looks like only Nigerians have spoken. How? Nanaya, tell me you're a Ghanaian.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's my first time joining on live.
Yeah, okay.
This I'm Naya from Ghana.
Thank you.
My issue has to do with the collaboration. At first, I thought I understood it clearly until I listened to your while back. Now I'm a bit confused. I just wanted clarification.
Okay, sure.
So
Go ahead.
my partner created this, accepted the invitation, then and then URL. After cloning, when you go to my GitHub account, I can see all my repositories, including his. The only difference is that that repository begins with his name. Is that correct? Am I on the right path?
Ideally, if you didn't fork it, it shouldn't be in your repo, your GitHub accounts. If you are talking about on your local machine, it should be there because you have cloned it, you've downloaded it. So it should be on your local machine, or if you are using Sandbox, like the ALX Sandbox, it should be in there because you've downloaded it there. But if you are seeing it in your GitHub account and you weren't the one who created the repo, then that means you forked it.
And why did I do wrong? I used the JClone, my PAT, and then his URL. That's what I did.
Yeah, but when you were pushing, where do you push to? Well, you needed to have set an upstream. If
I'm yet to push. I'm yet to push anything at all.
No, but if you are yet to push, then it shouldn't be present in your GitHub account. Did you say it is present in your GitHub account, as in on GitHub, or you mean on your local machine or sandbox that you are using?
On my GitHub account, when I go to repositories, I can see all my repositories, and then the last repository is his name, and I can see the name of the of his repository. The repository is created Printf.
No, then you probably fogged it to be able to see it. But I'm coming. Sorry, let me do something right now. Okay, so let me share my screen. What's your GitHub username?
ADMENS Agnes 2008.
Sorry.
AD
Come again. AD
MENS
MENS
2008 Agnes.
2008. Okay. Users. Okay. So you have 6 repos, and the repos I can see here: ALS low level programming, ALS system engineering 0 day, ALS 0 day, ALS pre-course, and admins 2008. So which repo are you referring to?
Oh, I can see Printf. I can see it here in my repository, in my account. I can see it here.
Actually, it's repositories. Let me, because this is my screen right now. This is your account, right? Or am I on the wrong account?
Yes, that's my account.
Yeah, there are 6 repositories here. Or is that repo private? If it's private, I can't see it. But these are the 6 repos that I can see.
So it doesn't mean if you cannot see it, the taker will also not see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then I'm okay.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I think when you
go
goes onto the home page on the left side, sometimes they do appear if it's on his side.
No.
The repository that either you're the owner or you're collaborating with.
No, so if you are collaborating with in a different account, it wouldn't appear in your repositories, and that's what we are looking at. If you have not forked it, it shouldn't appear in your repositories. So let me show you my account. This probably, if you go to repositories, these are my repositories, my personal repositories, those that are in my own account. However, there are repositories that I contribute to which will not be in my own account because I didn't create them and I have not forked them. And if you come to overview for me, I am a member of okay. Like, I'm a member of some organizations in here. So this is ALX SE. Let me probably go with this. I'm a member of this. So you see that I have access to these repos. See the people who are contributing here. This is my account. I have access to them. But then they don't show on my repos. They don't show on my repos. Like, even though I have access to them, there is another one that I have access to, and that should be iSentry's account. iSentry. Yeah. So this is a repo that I have access to. It's a private repo. It's a private repo. I have access to it, but then it doesn't show on my personal GitHub account as my repo. So I don't know if you guys get it. If you have not forked it, it shouldn't be part of your own repos. If you fork it, then it will be there. Or if you clone it and you set the upstream to your own repo, that will also push, you will now push it to your repo, to your account. But for as long as you clone it and the upstream, origin upstream is set to that person's account, which is by default what you get after cloning it, then it goes directly into the person's account. So if you are seeing it, maybe as part of your contributions down here, you would find that you are contributing to something. Let me show you this pass to this. Yes. So you see that as part of my contribution activity, I contributed to Hobbiton corrections, which is like the checker. And I contributed to ALS intro to SWE. Like all of these things are contributions, but then you won't find these ones as part of my own repos here. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I just wish I could share my account.
I mean, you can go ahead and share. Let me allow you sharing screen. Okay. Yeah. So now you can go ahead and share. Let me take the next question as you share. Jack. Hi, Jack.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So, like, let me say, me and my collaborator, for us to get 50, like, in the contribution.
Yeah.
So, what shows that?
Jack, I can no longer hear you.
Look, I've tried to share mine.
So I'm seeing you see the rest are in your name. But this is not in your name. Tech Ninja 8.
That's my partner's name.
Yeah. So that is not in your account.
All right.
Let me go there. Tech Ninja 8. Yep. So that's not in your account. You see all the ones in your account, you can see it. Now, like you see this is in your account, but that particular one is not in your account. And
all right.
Let me show you guys something. So stop sharing. Let me just share my screen. So I'm in your partner's account. And even though we didn't hear Jack's question, if I come to, this is the project that you have created, right? If I come here and I click on insights, see there is contributors here, but then this graph here shows me so far Tech Ninja has made 2 commits to this repo. You have not made any commits. So that is one way that I can measure the contribution, and I'll know who did what and who didn't do what. And remember that all commit messages are attached to your usernames. Any commit that you make is attached to your username. So we can even cross-check that this line of code in here was written by this particular partner and not this partner. That can easily be done. So sometimes when they flag people for cheating and they are coming to defend, they don't know that all of these details are available. They are readily available, and people are not aware. So they will come and defend. They will go and delete something and come and defend themselves that I didn't do this. Remember, this is version control. All the versions are in there. And the interesting thing is that the checker copies your code, copies everything, and keeps it on our server. So even before you delete it, the checker has access to it already. And you can't come and lie to the team with the, the code base. But people do not know. So yeah, that is it. When you come into insights, you'll be able to see how much contribution each of you has done over time. So this is the total, and when you take each contributor, this is what you're going to see. But so far, they haven't added you as a contributor. I haven't seen your account yet. So it means you haven't accepted to be a contributor.
I have. Nah, I have. That's before I even clone it.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
so when you make, because ideally I think I should have seen that.
is it possible to clone it without accepting the invitation?
I believe that is very possible. Let me try it for you to see. VS Code is only one way to figure things out when you are not aware. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it. So I have SSH connected already. So all I need now, let me open a folder. Say, let me just create a dummy folder here and open that. Then in here, yep, let's clone. Git clone. I've cloned it. Now, if I want to push to this repo, it's not going to work because I don't have the right to push to that repo. So I'll only be able to push to the repo if I have been added as a contributor to that repo. That's the only difference. But cloning is just downloading, and anybody at all can download. Remember, the checker downloads your code from GitHub. So the checker has not been added as a contributor to you, but it's able to download it. And maybe later in your life, you learn how to do those things, and you see how interesting all of that is. Yep. I guess we can move on.
You.
You're welcome. Hi, Jack. Yeah.
Yes, hello. I was still talking, huh?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. Let me say, like, my collaborator and I. So, concerning the tasks, are we going to do it differently? Then we combine the work, or how is it going to be done?
Once you have cloned the GitHub repo, you have access to everything in there. Your partner also have access to everything in there. So you're working. Please don't see it as this is individual work. So do your own work. Let them do your own work, and you merge it. No, you're working as a team, and that means that you'd have to plan together and say, okay, this is how we are going to approach it. For in my case, my partner and I were on the same call, like the same Zoom call, whilst building it. I think we didn't use Zoom though. We were streaming on Twitch. So that was, I think I used StreamYard that time. So the two of us were on the same call whilst building it, so that we discuss and say, okay, let's do this. You do this. Let me handle this. Do this. Let me handle this. Then we keep pushing, you know. But if that is not the case and you can't meet at the same time, then you have to decide in advance that, okay, you handle this one. Let me handle this. You are going to do this ABC, or let's begin from here. You do this part, I'll do this part. Then we'll meet and discuss the next step. But when you are done, do all to push it to the to GitHub so that we all have access to it. So you have to discuss this amongst yourself, and you know, okay, I'm doing this part. So when I push it, my partner will have access to it. My partner is doing this part. Otherwise, the easiest way, especially because you are now starting, the easiest way is for you to be on the same call whilst doing it and building it together. and you learn from each other, the various thoughts process. And for me, that's how I started. In fact, when we hopped on that very call that day that we did this thing, I didn't know much about collaboration. Just as like you right now, I really didn't know much about it. So it was on that live stream that I figured out that, oh, okay, so this is what they mean. Oh, okay, this is how we can do it. And we tried doing the pushing, cloning, pushing, like all of those things. We tried it on that live stream. And we had people who were watching us who were also suggesting things. Could you try this? And in fact, I was actually teaching while I was doing it. So I learned a lot from that day. And I think that's like the best way to go. If you are just starting, try and find some time, maybe in the evenings, you and your partner meet up and write the code together. In the daytime, you are learning about something. So you give yourself assignment, please learn about this thing. I'll learn about this thing this evening, around this time to this time, we'll start coding, like something like that, if possible. If not, then divide the tasks accordingly and do it on your own. But make sure you are constantly in communication with one another. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next person. Olivet, your hand is up again. Yep. Go ahead. Hi, Olivet.
Sorry, what I wanted to ask was on your response already.
Okay.
Okay, so initially I wanted to ask that the ideal way for us to go about this project, if I, according to all you said today, that I understand, is that somebody has to like create the repository on their GitHub.
Yeah.
Then the other person has to clone this repository. Then
Yeah.
you guys needs to plan, like one person takes, okay, if you're going to be creating like 13 or 14 files, one person takes like 8, the other person takes like the remaining one. And before when you're done, one just gently, one person pushes, the other person pulls, and it just continues like that till the whole thing is done. Like that's how I feel that the ideal way that we're supposed to go about this project. I don't know if I'm on the right track.
Yeah, that is it. Exactly the narrative you've given right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That's
You're
what I wanted to
welcome.
know.
Sure. The next person is Kelecho Mogoladi. I hope I didn't butcher your name.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I understand that people won't pronounce my name properly. Good day, Sir Obit.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find out, to understand, when you collaborate with someone and then that someone, it's not putting an effort, and they keep on sabotaging your work and saying that you give each other a chance, right? We were working in the same repository, right? And then he managed to push the other file, I managed to push the other files. Everything was good. And then he asked me about my codes, and I explained about my codes.
Okay.
And then he now changed his mind and said that I should delete everything on my side, because the repository was created by me. And I did that. I deleted everything. And then he said, no, let's use my repository. Then he created a repository. After creating that repository, he then said that I can't push my code in his repository when he doesn't understand what the codes mean. But I said to him, but I tried to explain the codes and the functions for Printf, but you couldn't even give me a chance for that. Then I went back to my mentor. And then after going back to my mentor, I told my mentor what is happening. And then my mentor let me work alone. So I'm asking, if I'm working alone, what should be done on my project?
So when you mean what should be done, are you referring to like in terms of the contributions and what?
Yeah, in terms of the contribution.
Yeah, I mean, you end up getting 100% contribution. So at the end of the day, the scoring is going to go in your favor, and in your favor in the sense that you're not going to be marked down or anything, right? And one thing I've observed, I mean, there's a role of teamwork, and that's the more reason why keep we still have team projects in the program. But then there's a lot to learn when you are working solo. It gives you the ability to fully grasp the whole thing. So for me, my advice to you would be, don't look down on what is happening as a disadvantage. Rather see it as an advantage to you, because now by the time you are able to do the whole project, you would have gotten like a full understanding of this whole thing. Because looking at the example you are giving in your case, when everyone, like your team member, is not being cooperative enough and giving you the headache and things, eventually, even if you do it together, there are things that this other person is going to do that you probably do not know, and you also do something that person doesn't know. But now that you are doing it solo, you are going to end up understanding the whole thing better. However, even after saying that, I'll still recommend that you try and have the discussion with other people. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like the exact person that you were paired with. You can have discussions in order to get other people's perspective about how these things work. So you can equally talk to some other people who are ready to talk to you and discuss the things, so that eventually you are going to push your code alone. Okay. And hopefully there will be no issues. Even if checker automatically checks it and there are issues, since you reported to your mentor and he or she gave you the go ahead, we are going to be able to revise or revisit that and give you the perfect score. I mean, the score that you deserve for the work that you did without the other partner. So yeah, I mean, but please do not hesitate to have a discussion with people. Okay, don't. I see it as software engineering is not a field where you can thrive alone. If I mean, you can thrive alone, but you won't go that far. A lot of the things that I know is not because I was so good that I took my time to learn everything, but I leverage other people's knowledge. And my fellow Nigerians, you people would have heard what they call OPK, and OPK is other people's knowledge. It's very important when you are trying to learn things faster, because I probably will spend 3 hours reading this book in order to understand it, but you have already spent those 3 hours, so I don't need to spend the 3 hours. Tell me what it is, what's in there, and maybe I'll use just 1 hour to revise it. So that is what I can say. I hope that
Okay,
helps.
so you
Yeah,
saying,
go ahead.
yeah, you saying that I should tell you what is in the printf so that we can revise it to, uh, right now within this 1 hour, or I didn't hear you properly.
No, 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 no. I'm saying that you can equally go ahead and do the work by yourself. Okay. But what I recommend is that try and also have
Okay.
a discussion
Um,
with some of your peers.
Lavi said I can repair instead. No, I don't want to repair instead. I don't want to repair instead because I already have anxieties. Already 2 people down
Re-
the drain are disappointing me. I don't want to repair instead.
Relax,
Yeah, I
relax.
just want to work alone and understand my work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
relax, relax. That's what I'm saying. Don't see it as a disadvantage. See it as an advantage for you to fully grasp the concept. But then don't despise engaging other people and learning from their perspective as well. So not necessarily repairing, but then you should still be able to try and engage other people who are actively doing it. I learned you are all in a group. So those who are very active and who are doing it, like me, when I was doing it with my partner, there were other people on the call who were asking questions. They wanted to understand things, and we all try and explain things together. So that's also a good way to go. Otherwise, when you're suffering and you're suffering alone, it's very difficult. But when you have other people there to guide you, I think that would be a great thing to do. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Obed. I do
You're welcome.
understand. Yes, having different um perspective coming from different people actually is how we learn.
Yeah.
And I will definitely, if I have something to ask in the group, I'll post it in the group. Yeah, instead of pairing with someone else, because pairing with someone else, uh, it it's giving me problems.
Don't worry. For now, just go ahead. But one other thing you should try and do is try and find someone that you can really work closely with. And so let me tell you this, share my personal experience. I had like 6 close buddies in the group, like in my cohort, 6 close buddies. And this is what I did. I paired with each one of them for every one of the projects. Like, so the next project we are going to do, I know that I want to pair this person. It was only the first project that we did that I didn't have any idea. Like at the time, that was Printf. I didn't know many people. So somebody reached out to me. That was my partner at the time. Reached out to me. He was the first person who reached out to me. And I saw that he was active in the WhatsApp group that we're in. So I said, okay, let's do it. Then that's how I paired with him. Subsequently, I had gotten found of, I mean, connected to about 6 people, and I had them in my mind that this, the next big project I'm pairing with this, like team project, I'm pairing with this person, the next one. So I told them about it, that I want to pair you the next project. So prepare the next project, you are the one that I'm choosing. And that's how I ended up picking and choosing who to work with. Okay, because these are people that they were always showing up for my live sessions. So I knew that these are people that I could trust. Like they are happy to work with me. So that's what I ended up doing. And I think that can easily go a long way for every one of you. Connect with people that you really know will be there. Like you could motivate each other. And I think that I always say, be the partner you want. Like, what kind of partner do you want? First of all, become that type of partner. If you want a partner that checks up on people, like I'm that type of person. If I haven't heard from you in a while, I'm checking up on you. What's happening? Like, are you able to do your projects? Are there any challenges? Like, I want to be there for people, you know. And once I'm there for them, they almost always look for me. Like right now, if for say 3 straight days I've not put anything on Twitter, there are people who will literally come into my inbox to find out if everything is fine with me. Because if I am not seeing them, I go and check up on them. Like, oh, it's been a while, I've seen you. Is there anything the problem? Can I be of help in any way? You know, so be that partner that you are looking for, and you go for not only this program. No, there are some people that you become close buddies. You may end up building companies together. They may end up being the ones recommending you for a job, or several other things that can happen. I got a freelance gig in January this year, and it was through one of the people, one of the 6 people that I talk about. It was through one of them that I got that contract. Even though I am Ghanaian, I was in Ghana at the time. This contract was a Nigerian contract, and that partner of mine was a Nigerian. And all he did was to tell the people that, yeah, I know this guy, he can do the job. So if you would want to talk to him, they talk to me, they say, yeah, we think you are good for the job, and they gave me the contract. So that is what I can say. Let's go on. Nonso. Hi, Nonso. I hope that is your name. Where you are
Yeah,
writing code for us.
is
Okay.
is my name.
All right.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yeah.
Yeah, happy to see you. Please, you made mention of adding a collaborators, or
Yeah.
I didn't get it clear there. So if actually maybe somebody have created a repo,
Yeah.
then add you as a collaborator, then you accept. Is there any other thing you're going to do so that you can push the GitHub?
No, once you have cloned, you have automatically the upstream has been set. I think somebody asked the question I was going to respond to. Once you clone it, automatically the upstream is set to that particular one. You know, the upstream for the code or the branch you are currently working on is automatically set to that. So if you try pushing, it's going to push to that particular branch. Okay. But that is, you'd only be able to do that kind of push if you have access to, or you've been added as a collaborator. So I'm coming. I want to let me share my screen and try it for you all to see. Share my screen. So this is what we cloned. Where am I? This is what we cloned, right? And let me cd into printf and I've made changes to the file, so I can check that with git status, and that shows me that I've modified the readme file. So what do? I add it, git add, then git commit, and my message will be saying update readme file. And now I need to push. Could not read from remote repo. Please make sure you have the correct access rights and the repository exists. I've not been added as a collaborator to that repo, so I can't push to it. If they had added me as a collaborator, this would easily have gone, okay? Because already the upstream has been set to be this person's account. So I wouldn't have any problem if I had already been added as a collaborator. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. So once the person has added you as a collaborator, you have accepted it and you have cloned it. That's all you need. You can now push to it directly from your terminal, whether you are using Vim or whatever, Sandbox, or on your virtual machine or whichever device you are using. You can. All right. Next person. So I can see another non-so. Is it the same person that spoke earlier, or?
No, it's not me.
Okay. So the one with 0, I don't know, you're writing JavaScript function here. Yeah, and returning also as the output. Are you here? Okay, let me ask to unmute. If otherwise, I'll move on to someone else. Light, highlight.
Yeah, I'm okay. Dr. Bed.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, about the Printf project, I wanted to confirm if it's advisable for someone to, go ahead with ChatGPT.
It's advisable to go ahead with ChatGPT. What will ChatGPT be doing for you?
Because I don't know where to start from, like about that code. So I've been actually making some research on ChatGPT on how to start. So
yeah,
so he has
but
been able to
if you
generate
say,
some code. So I wanted to modify the code. So I don't know if I will escape Kimba or not.
I think the moment you start asking whether I will escape Kimba or not, I think you got it all wrong. You know, the reason is that your focus should not be on necessarily getting, I mean, I know everybody wants to pass the milestone and go forward and all of that. But if you don't understand what you are doing and you are promoted and you go forward, like, what's the use? You would complete ALX SE as somebody who has completed a program but has no software engineering prowess. How do you intend to get a job without that? How do you intend to be able to build applications, or are you going to be using ChatGPT to build every time? And it's not logical, you know. So what I would say is, I did a session with like for ALS when we talked about how to use ChatGPT to learn. And I explained, even in that example, I choose how to use ChatGPT to learn for the Printf project. So maybe you'd want to check that particular session that we did and learn how to use it to do that. Okay. When I'm using ChatGPT to learn, there's a difference between using ChatGPT to learn and using it to work. If you are using it to learn, you don't have to let it write any line of code for you to copy. And in that case, you are not even going to wonder whether Kimba will beat you or not. The moment you start thinking about Kimba in ALX SE, it means that you are doing something wrong, because you are thinking about Kimba because you are copying, or you are probably choosing something that you are not sure whether it's going to flag you or not. But if you are doing the right thing, there is no way to even, Kimba doesn't exist to some of us, because you are not here to just finish. You are here to know. I don't mind taking 12 years to become a software engineer, for as long as after the 12 years I become like the best, and I can get the best money from this thing. Hey, the thing that some of you do not know is that I started teaching myself programming about 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, that's when I started teaching myself programming. And I've struggled throughout till now, you know. So it doesn't come on a silver platter. Even right now, I'm still struggling with a lot of things, but then I am very patient when it comes to learning. There are a lot of things that now those people who join me on my daily study streams will tell you. Like, there are things that I am literally learning over and over again just to get a better understanding. So I wouldn't mind taking 12 years of my time to become like the best at something, so that I keep telling even my colleagues around here that now I'm so patient. I'm taking my time to learn. I use this word, the word learn. Learn is, I say I'm learning in order to earn. Like, just remove the L. When I start removing my losses, then I'll begin to earn. Okay. So that's the point. Please focus on understanding and being able to do the project, and beating your chest and say that yes, this is what I did. Even if I scored 60%, I understand that 60%. Maybe I'll try again. And now I'll put in more effort. I'll learn better. I try with the previous experience that I've gotten, and now I can get 80%. And even if I do it by myself and I get 80% and I pass on to the next one, I'm okay. Rather than copying and getting 200% and being frustrated by the next project because I don't know, and now resorting to, oh, ChatGPT is there, ChatGPT is there. You use it, and eventually, when you're going for a work interview, we'll ask you to come and do technical interview, and you're scared you can't do anything and you're not getting a job. Who will you blame? You've wasted 12 months of your life. So please, let's not waste 12 months of our life. I hope that helps. Like,
Yeah, but
mm-hmm.
the issue is that, ALS can be a little bit frustrating, like the way they pump this fast to us, you know what I mean? So probably we may not have chance to study a lot before they push in new ones and stuff. And moreover, most of us want to just, we not really care about the C. So person like me, I want to like focus on Python. So based on my field, I don't really need the C language. So, and secondly, immediately the C start pounding on me. So I just say, okay, fuck C. Let me wait till we get to Python. So that's the reason why.
I think that is also a wrong mindset to be in ALS SE. If you don't need C, and that's what you are thinking about it, I think that maybe ALS SE will not be the solution to the problem that you need right now. Like the problem you have right now, ALS SE will not be the solution. Maybe you'd have to take like a different course or program for, if it is Python, just go and learn Python. The reason I'm saying this is when we get to Python, we are not going to teach you everything. We are going to make the assumption that you know all of these things from C. So the only additions, we are just doing what? Adding on. Like you introduce you to the syntax, then straightforward to add on to the knowledge that you have built in C. That's how it works here. So the foundation for everything that you are doing in ALS SE is your C language. If you don't understand the C language, you are going to struggle all throughout. So if really, I mean, I don't have a problem with understanding that I don't need all of these things. This is what I need. If that is what you need, then just look for a course that focuses on just that and do it. I mean, Angela, you has 100 days of Python or something. You can probably take that one to just focus on Python to understand. But if you really want to be in ALS SE and complete successfully, you can't do away with C. Even when you start Python, you're going to have C projects throughout. So sprint one doesn't end C. In sprint two, you are still going to be doing C. And I mean, you'll be frustrated if you don't take it serious. So that I can bet on it because I have gone through it and I know how it is. And the good thing is that you're saying that you're interested in Python, right? Python has a lot of abstractions. You go there and we tell you that this is, oh, you can do this by doing this, by doing this. But then you don't have a full understanding of why this is that. Okay. So by learning C, it's easy for you to now understand the high level stuff that Python is giving you, all the abstractions. You know that behind the hood, this is what is actually happening. And that allows you to manipulate the language to your advantage at any time. So if you really want to become like that kind of software engineer that fully understands things, please. That one, I myself will kneel down and beg you that rethink it and take your time to learn these things even before you get to Python. But if you really know
But
that,
how can
nah,
we
I
learn
just
when when ALS keep pushing, unleashing different project tasks on people, like if as if we're fighting with them or something?
you know,
Because
I
they push this task so much, you know what I mean? Like every day they keep on pushing tasks. Even today they have to send us to complete one quiz about 15 questions in an hour when somebody is thinking of how to create a repo and one or two things. Yeah. So sometimes this thing just get me frustrated. So even if I choose to defer to maybe core 20, it's still going to be the same. They will still keep on pushing this question. So someone won't have time to get.
I mean,
So this is really bit, this is crazy, man.
I understand your frustration, right? But then you'd have to understand this, that the program has requirements, right? If you really want to be able to do this, that means that you are supposed to have been putting in as much time as possible to survive it. If you are putting in any less time because it has been calculated, we are releasing this project this week because we expect you to have this number of hours throughout the week. And this number of hours means you need this set of projects to meet up that. So I usually think, I don't know about your situation, but I usually think that the first time that you have a complaint about the tax being plenty, then the first concern I'm thinking about is, are you really given that time? Are you really using the, what do you call, at a minimum of 70 hours a week, are you really having that time? Because if you have that time,
I spend at least 16 hours a day on front of my computer, trying to read and study and do some things regarding ALX. More than 16 hours daily.
okay,
As in,
that's
when I mean every day, including Sunday.
that's interesting.
You understand? But the issue is that the material is a lot. Like, you can't finish it before you could want to finish it, because you still need to watch some other videos. Even your videos, some of your videos is 2 hours plus. So before you could finish those stuffs, so the previous ones you learned, you've forgotten them already. So you need to tackle that task, and the next day they have to throw another one on you again. And one of the most funniest things is that even when this Printf project want to start, all the mentors they assign to us, nobody organized anything for us. No one has come to go to Slack or to like introduce him or herself, organize anything for us. You understand? Like this, most of these questions people are asking you, I don't think anyone would have come here and start asking you about how to clone and how to push. Okay. You understand? So I can tell you it's really, really, really difficult for everybody in Cohort 18. Maybe just few of them that differ from previous cohort, like 16, 15, they are the one finding it easy. But to see the new guys there, bro, we are dying for sure.
Like, I love.
Why I'm complaining is because I know you are now working for them, so it will be easy for you to reach out to them if they can organize us one-on-one for talk. I would like to to talk to them.
Good afternoon.
Summer, relax. Let me talk to, like, yeah. So I am very much interested in this discussion because always I want to establish how much time is this person putting in. If you're telling me every day I put in 16 hours, you are the kind of person that I would like to engage. Is it coming from your end? Oh, yeah. So you are the type of person I would like to engage more to really understand what's really the problem is for you and how best you can optimize your time to be able to get the best out of it. Because putting in 16 hours means you are really doing a lot and you should get a lot out of it. My quick advice to you is that, one, leverage other people's knowledge. And I've mentioned this already. You can't learn everything by yourself. Something that will take you 3 hours to learn, somebody else has learned it. Learn that in less than 1 hour by leveraging that person's knowledge. And that means that you all should be willing to help each other. That's what I did for my cohort, and it helped me personally, so I can recommend it. So that is one. Two is this: a lot of you start off with tax. When you go, okay, today what is the tax about, and you start, I'm pretty sure some of you have not even read the resources or the the concept pages, but you've already started tax one. The focus is not for you to come and be solving tasks. The focus is for you to learn the concepts for that particular day. So for this project, what are the concepts that you are required to know? Focus on learning those ones. Once you know them, then you start the work. So if I throw light back to when I was doing ALX SE, I usually did my morning learnings, like early morning. I'll learn for several hours. Then late afternoon, that's when I begin solving my tasks. So that when I'm coming to solve my tasks, I don't come empty-headed and now start, okay, what does this mean? I've learned something. I know very well that there are some of the tasks that sometimes it's not clear. You don't know what it means. But then those are the times that you need to be discussing with people. What do you think? This, because in the real world, that is what happens. You don't always have it figured out. You have to be able to talk to people, get their perspective about things, and learn from it. Okay, no, I think it's this way. How about you? Even right now in my master's degree program that I'm doing, a lot of the times I have to move out and go and talk to my colleagues that this assignment, what do you think about it? Like, then they start talking from their perspective and it clicks that, oh, okay, I haven't thought about this way, but this is how I thought about it. Oh, I thought this statement here meant this thing. Then this is how you easily learn things from others. If you're on your own, that would be a problem. Okay, so Light, I would love to have a conversation with you personally, and let's see. My schedule for this coming week may be very tight, but send me a DM on Twitter and let me know that you are the guy that we had this sort of conversation, and let's decide on when we can meet to have the discussion. Because hey,
All right.
I'm happy to assist
I
as
will,
much as I can.
I will message you on Twitter, and also you can help us pass the message to ALX
To
organizations that the to anyone that is that is organizing Cohort 18. Those guys,
no, but
they are
does
not
doesn't
doing
mean
their
you don't
job.
know your technical mentor.
Nobody knows anybody. These guys
No, no,
haven't
no,
come
no.
for any day
I
to introduce
disagree.
themselves.
I disagree
I'm
because
telling you,
relax,
I
relax,
can tell you, see, when
relax,
okay,
light, relax. Every cohort has a mentor, and every week you have live learning sessions. Is that not the case? Have you joined any of those live learning sessions? I can
on
open
YouTube,
the come again.
from from YouTube, yeah.
I don't know how you people host your because here
Yeah,
on
they normally on the announcement channel they normally post times for it. So it's only this woman, boss, and then it is better one woman with hijab.
yeah, so then
She
that's
normally
she then it means she is your mentor. Every cohort has like one mentor. So I don't know if your other colleagues can speak to that, but I can see that on 21st September, you have a live learning session on singly linked list on 21st. So definitely you should on 19th. When is 19th? 3 days
they are
from
not
now.
organizing it right.
19th, you have a live learning session on C Printf. Hmm? So that's what I'm saying. Hey, I am in charge of students or learners experience. So my role in ALX SE is I am curriculum quality and experience analyst. So I am responsible for your experience and any issues that you're having to optimize your stay in the program to make you get the best experience. So I'm happy that we are having this discussion, and that's why I said I would like to have a one-on-one discussion with you. And not even the fact that I'm working for ALX SE. I am always happy to assist individuals who want to be able to achieve their dreams. You understand? But your cohort mentor, every one of you should know who the mentor is. And you should be able to, if you want to be able to speak to your mentor, just join their live sessions and talk to them. I don't know if every one of them hosts it on YouTube, but during I think cohort 7 when we started initially was on YouTube, then subsequently we moved to Zoom so we could easily interact with them. So I really don't know that, but I'm going to investigate it and see what can be done for cohort 18 in that regard. But I don't think the problem you are facing is the problem of cohort 18. We all have gone through it. I went through it. And I'm not saying because I went through it, you all have to go through it. That's why in my capacity, anything that I can do, even if I wasn't working for ALS, I was still going to come back and have these sort of conversations to help people. I mean, my goal is to uh, help transform our continent. We are going to be producing the best software engineers out there,
Yeah,
and we all have to
I've actually
contribute
wanted
our.
to reach out to you maybe for, should I say, not one on one, but kind of private. Maybe I could organize some of my boys in Cohort 18 maybe you can be giving us some topic, even if it's once in a week. Maybe you can just come on Slack or anywhere. Just spend 45 minutes to 1 hour, whatever it is. We can, even if it's coffee, according to ALS, we can sure offer you coffee. Don't mind.
No worry. Anyway, so you reach out to me. I personally don't take offers like that, but then you reach out to me. Let's have the discussion. I'm happy to, especially if it is public, because every time I am appearing somewhere, I mean, I feel that a lot of people can need or would need this. Okay. So mostly I don't take like one, two people to teach. I don't do that. And right now I'm really struggling with time. You wouldn't understand, but then I'm struggling
Not one
with
or
time.
two. We are a lot in this same situation. You understand, but
No.
it seems some people are scared to speak, or because ALS is offering them the stuff for free. So for that reason, they shouldn't open their mouth and speak their mind. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry,
But
I've been
I
raising my
can tell
hand
you,
since.
Yeah,
Can
I'm
I?
going to call you. I'm coming, sorry.
Okay.
I can,
Light.
I can, I can tell you, everybody's the same way. Everybody's going
That
through
way
the
it
same
is
thing.
getting better. Oh, why is my phone going off now?
He's crying off
Okay,
like
maybe
anyway.
I should allow them to
Yeah,
ask their own
exactly.
question. Right.
Exactly.
Thank you. I will reach
Yeah.
out to you on Twitter actually.
Sure. Okay. So who was complaining that he has raised his hands? Was it not?
It's me.
Oh, Olivet. Okay, go ahead.
It's me.
Go ahead.
I wanted to quickly talk about what he has just said. I just wanted to like see something in line with what he has just said. Yeah, it's not that most of us, just as he's putting in the 17 hours, most of us don't even sleep at night. But the thing is, understanding C is not today's job. But the problem is that this lady, it's not. She's trying, she's really trying. I've attended her teachings like 2 or 3 times. But I realize most times when I go into her life, sometimes I get more confused. I don't know. Maybe it's because of how fast she is, or she's talking like we the way she's talking to already knows what she's talking about. There's a way you teach. It's quite different. I'm not saying she's not good at what she does. It might be my personal issue, the way I understand stuff. So when I go into her life and stay for like 30 minutes, 1 hour, sometimes I get like confused. I'm like, are you sure I even know what I felt I knew? But when I go back and I watch your videos, okay, I get some clarity and I'm like, okay, I'm still in line. If so sometimes the lady is very fast, so she tends to confuse her. But the thing is,
Anyway.
normally every one of us knows that ALX is fast. So we just have to keep up the pace. Because now ALX has gotten to Printf project, and me personally, I'm still trying to understand Malloc. I feel like I'm still far, but with time I'm going to like catch up and understand. So I don't know. There's no shortcut to that. If there is one, I beg somebody should help us out.
Anyway, thank you all for those ones. What I would not want us to do right now is, let's not turn this into an ALS official discussion. I'm not in here as in my capacity as a staff of ALS. I'm in here as someone that Lovett invited to come and have a discussion with you people. And I'm happy to pick up any concerns that you have as an ALS staff and work on them as much as I can. And the funny thing is that I've been a learner before. Every complaint that you are making, I have faced it, and I know what it takes to be in those shoes, right? So, as I've said, if you didn't know, now you know. I'm in charge of experience. So it's very important, an important aspect of my role to ensure that you get the best experience. So if there are any issues that you are facing, hey, my DM is always open. You can always send me a DM. I had to run away from Slack. So on Slack, ideally I'm supposed to have a two different accounts. I have my student account and I have my staff accounts. My staff account, I'm not on the Slack that you all are on, but my student account is there, and I keep being bombarded with questions. And it frustrates me if I see that somebody has reached out and I haven't responded to the person, you know. So to save my sanity, I had to run away from Slack. So I haven't opened that student Slack account in a very long while. And some people do not know, like they think I'm a technical mentor. I'm not. So when you start asking me technical questions that your technical mentor should respond to, then it becomes challenging. But if you have any problem, say, I'm happy to take that up and maybe look for a way to solve it. But here right now, please let's focus on things that you think I can be of help to right now, okay? So that we don't drag it and you don't get any value out of it by just complaints. I mean, the complaints are they are they are valid complaints. Your excuses are all valid. I keep saying that. But now, when we are here to gain value, let's put our excuses aside and look for that value. I hope we are all clear on that. Otherwise, if you have any issues, hey, you can if you reach out to me, you can give me what is it like request for my email and even Julian's email, and write us an email detailing all the problems that you have. Once I report or Julian picks it up, we are definitely going to look at it. If it's something that can easily be fixed, we are happy to fix it right after seeing it. Okay. I hope we have a deal over there. Yes, yes. Okay, so let me start calling names again. Uh, user. Yeah, who is that?
Hello.
Samuel. Yeah, Samuel.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good day. I struggle to respond to the good afternoon, good evening because it's still morning.
evening.
Okay, now it's good afternoon where I am. Anyway, let's go
Okay.
on. Yeah.
My question is this programming course,
Mm-hmm.
when I was going to join, I thought programming was something very easy. That it's just something that you will be able to build whatever you like. Because I'm this kind of person that likes playing with my computer. So I just felt like programming, okay, when I start programming, I'll be able to build so many things on my own. But I won't lie to you. When I started, I saw this thing was totally different. But I tried to get so many materials just to catch up with this thing. But man, it was not, I didn't meet, I would say I'm trying my best, but is there something more we can go and study that would help us in writing all these codes? Because as a beginner now, I really don't know where to start. Though I've read my materials and all that, but I'm still not getting it. But I feel that if everybody can do it, why can't I do it? And I'm always with my system. I can do so many things on my system. At times, if they give us a project in ALX, so they ask us to write a code that is going to take like a whole page. I won't lie to you, my brother. I don't understand all those things. I'm always in every tutorial on Slack or that core 18, this thing. They are the one always helping me out. So is there something you can recommend for us that would help us? Because they said as we go on that we are going to understand how to write the code, but it's now getting to 3 months now. I really don't understand. I want to be honest. Is there something you can just advise us to do, or a material you can that can help us in writing all these codes to make us understand all these codes? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you. The first thing I want to say right now is please pardon me. I'm going to start eating something. So I haven't eaten the whole day and I'm feeling a bit tired right now. So I need some energy. So if you see me eating, please pardon me. Yeah. And just to respond to your question. I I know I don't want see I don't like giving generic advice like all of that, and usually to give like a very specific advice that is going to help someone, you need to get more context. That's why when I was engaging Light, I wanted to understand how many hours he's putting in. If I get to meet him to discuss, the next question I will ask him is for him to break down like how he spends. If he says he's spending 16 hours, how is he spending those 16 hours? I need to fully understand everything that you are going through to be able to give you the best advice. However, in this case, since I'm talking to a whole number of you, I have to make it as generic and applicable to everyone as possible. And the point is that you are not necessarily going to become an expert at everything that you're being introduced to. And that's reality. You have just 1 year to learn something that takes people 16 years to learn. So this is, maybe you shouldn't quote me on this anyway, but I'll say it anyway. It is a matter of knowing like the bare minimum to carry you through. Being introduced to it and understanding it in your own way to be able to use it. There are some of the things that you forget, and it is normal. If you ask me to teach you variadic functions right now, I'm not sure I'll be able to teach you like right now, because I don't remember the last time I wrote something like that. But then because I understand it, if I go back to any reference material right now, give me 5 minutes, I'll be able to pick it up and come and teach you. Do you get it? And yesterday on my live stream, I was explaining what I think knowledge is. And I even decided that I'm going to write an article to explain that for people who are confusing what knowledge is. You're not going to remember everything you learn. It is normal. Please focus on, okay, in my own way, do I understand this? If you don't understand it, you have to have a question. Why don't you understand it? Is it because the way this person is teaching it, did they say it something, or are they confusing you by saying this? Initially, they said it. Like, you should have a question that shows that, no, you don't understand this. So initially you said this, why are you now saying this? You're confusing me because now I have to understand it. Have a question if you don't understand it. If you don't have a question, then I know that you get it. And sometimes all you need to know is, okay, you've told me that this is how it is. So anytime I want to use this, this is how I'm going to use it. Simple. All I need is that kind of understanding. And with time, you would get to appreciate some of the things, because now you start building on top and say, oh, so this is what they meant all this while. You know? So when you start learning right now, your focus shouldn't be like for you to become an expert at anything. It is for you to get a basic understanding of what you have been introduced to be able to use it at your level. Subsequently, you'll be able to build upon it. And it's also for you to identify the best way to learn. It is an individual thing. Somebody reaches out to me and say, what's the best way to learn? I can't give you an answer. It's an individual thing. I, for one, for me to be able to come out and do any of the sessions that I did, I really struggle with those concepts. I take my time to learn a lot of them. I watch videos, I read books. I'm pretty sure I read more than 3 different C books when it comes to understanding concepts. I know somebody will now start putting in the chat, please, can you give me the book? No, I don't have that book right now. Like, I just literally download books based on the topic that I want to learn. If it is variadic functions and I'm not getting it, just look for resources. As soon as I get one, I try consuming it. Does it give me the understanding I want? Okay, now I think I understand it this way. If not, let me look for what's the other resource, the next resource, the next resource. YouTube videos, I watch them like crazy. You see, so there isn't a shortcut per se, but you have to figure out the best way that works for you. If I'm introduced to a new concept right now and I don't get it, the first thing I'll do is just go to YouTube. quickly skim through a YouTube video, get like a high level overview. I don't need to understand. All I want is a high level overview. What is all these things that they are talking about? Like, what is, oh, so it's like this and like that. Oh, okay. Now let me take my time to learn it. Then I can take my time to sit on these things to learn them. I go through the books. If the book is confusing me and I'm not getting it, probably have a discussion with people. I attended almost every live session, at least for my foundations. I think it was when I went into specialization, or no, the third sprint. When I went into the third sprint, I started doing my freelance gig. So I was quite busy and I couldn't attend. And no, I think I joined the company as well in specialization, and I couldn't attend a few of those sessions because that's where I could ask the mentor. And if I'm asking the mentor, it's not only the mentor I'm interested in asking, my other colleagues are also there and they get to share or weigh on that with me as well. Okay, so these are just some of the things that you can do. There isn't like a secret, but please figure out what is best for you. And note that the training you are going through, it's very normal. Like technology is that fast paced. It's fast paced, such that yesterday, let me just walk you through a practical example. Last year, around December, I started learning React JS. And around that time, I was learning React 16. And that was it, React 16. Then right now, what is popular is React 18. And a lot has changed. Between React 16 and React 18, a lot has changed. Oh, this guy, sorry. So if I want to be up to speed, I have to keep up all the updates that are coming. Like I started learning Next.js this year, I think around April. And I was learning Next.js 12. Now it is Next.js 13 that is like the thing. And a lot has changed about Next.js 13. You have to be able to go and pick those up. You're learning this thing, a new technology has come. You need to use that technology. You have to learn it. So the mindset that you are going through right now is just to prepare you for the world ahead of you. Don't see it as like ALS is the devil. The moment you begin to see it that way, you are losing it. If this is really how it is, how can I optimize myself to overcome it? That's the angle that you should take it. This is real life. And the good thing is that by the time you go through ALS, if you go through it well, and as they will say, if you allow the school to pass through you and you also pass through the school, you'd realize that subsequently everything is like, oh yeah, this is easy. Like life afterwards is easy. But those who get it easy now, when they enter into the real world, then they begin to struggle. By you going through the difficulty right now and adjusting yourself, I think yesterday or last 2 days, I was sharing with people on my stream, my live stream, that when we're going through ALS SE, when people were complaining a lot, I didn't feel that much of a pressure. I'm not saying that it wasn't difficult for me. It was just like anybody else. But then pharmacy school taught me worse. Like this 16 hours you are complaining about, I shared a typical day in my life in pharmacy school to people on that stream that day, where I usually sleep around 1 and wake up around 4 a.m. And the rest of the day is doing things towards pharmacy, like class. Either I'm preparing for a quiz, I'm writing my lab report, I'm studying for an exams, all of those things. We could go to one class and the same program, maybe course, or how do we call those things? Course, yeah. So physiology, we have 2 different lecturers coming in that day teaching physiology. So I like pharmacy school was more stressful than what ALX SE is. So when I came to ALX SE, even though it was stressful, my body had adjusted to that level of stress to the point that I could relate with it. Like, yeah, I understand that it's stressful, but hey, like this is normal to me because I've been exposed to it. And that's the same thing that is happening right now. The way you are going through it now, if you manage to be able to go through, I remember very well. There was this day when I was in second year. I remember this day like it was yesterday. And I told myself that if I'm able to survive this day, there is no other day in this world that I'll not be able to survive. And that day, I had like lots of assignments to submit. I had a midsem to write. I had lab reports to submit. I had a quiz to write. Oh my. To the point that I had to even engage my roommate to write some of my assignments for me in pharmacy school. And after surviving that day, I don't see that there is any challenging day in my life. Like I would survive it. And when I completed and now working for the team, there's a lot of demand on us every single day, but then it's normal for me. So that's the whole point. Let's try and optimize ourselves, our time, how we study, and for yourself, like focus on yourself. Don't look at someone else and say, oh, this guy does it this way, so I also want to do it. Like if you want to experiment it, go ahead and experiment it and find the best way for you and leverage that. Okay, maybe we'll probably have to organize a different session where I talk about almost all of these. And if you want to hear me discuss these things and you have like these sort of questions to ask me, I am almost always like during the work days, Monday to Friday, almost always available on YouTube on my channel. So I do study with me streams. GMT time will be from 1 p.m. to like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. I'm almost always online, and during the break sessions, we have such discussions. Anyone who has any question, you are welcome to join in there and ask me, and I'm happy to assist you specifically with your questions. All right. So yeah, I hope that is helpful. Emmanuel Adisoyi, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Obed.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. My question is related to my partner. The partner I was paired with because I could not. Almost all the people I'm close to in ALX at the moment, someone had to defer. Another person said that they have light issues in their town, so I might not be able to pair at the moment. So I just allowed the ALX PM with someone. So the person I was paired with in ALX, the person is not responding and has not been responding since yesterday. So I reached out to I forgot her name, I think Faridus or something, about repair. So she said I should get a pair and we should tag her. And I've done that ever since yesterday. I've done that since yesterday rather. So I want to ask, how long does it take for me to be repaired with someone? And what are the things that you advise me to be doing in this period while I'm waiting to be paired with a partner for my Printf tax? Sir.
If you say you've tagged her, does it mean you already have found someone that you want to pair with?
Yes, I found someone. I was able to find someone yesterday, and I followed the process of making her know sharp and all of that.
Okay, so I can't speak to the process that they go through. Once again, I'm not a technical mentor, so there are certain things that I don't know about. Okay, like I don't do those ones, so I don't know much about them. However, what our advice is, once you found someone you want to work with, please go ahead and do the project. Even if your partner leaves you and you are yet to find someone, please go ahead and do the project. Focus on the learning part for you. And I already mentioned that you can join some other group to learn and understand, have your discussions with them, but then code your own thing and submit it. Even if your partner doesn't show up, for as long as you did 100% contribution, you're going to get your score. Okay? So now that you've gotten a partner, please go ahead, have your discussions with your partner, work on the project together, and push your code. Eventually, if they pair you up, you would have done the work already and you wouldn't have wasted any time. If by close to deadline she hasn't still paid you up, push for it. That is when you know, oh, we've done the work already and we need you to pair us so that Checker doesn't give us any issues. And even after Checker has been released and you have issues like that, with this sort of evidence that I tagged my mentor, this, you can always recheck it. I mean, regrade you to get you the grades that you deserve. So go
All
ahead
right,
and
sir.
work on it. Yeah, sure.
All right, sir. Thank you,
User.ex.
sir. I just want to add.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening to you, sir.
Yeah. So I was just calling someone else to ask their
Okay,
question.
I just wanted to say something before we.
Go ahead.
So, like you are also, if I want to pick it from the words you said now, you're also saying that if it happens that even if I don't have a responsive partner in the end, I can join groups to learn and also just having 100% commit. That's the point I'm trying to lay. Is no,
Yeah. I mean, I don't
will not
think
be
there's
an
a problem with that. I'm not saying
all
it
right.
as a spokesperson for ALS. I'm saying it as a learner myself.
All right.
Yeah, please just go ahead and learn.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.
Yes.
User.exe. I like your username.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah,
Hello.
good evening. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
My question is, in the process whereby someone is not able to finish the task, what would be the stand?
When you say you are not able to finish the task, what do you mean? I
Hello?
mean, yeah, checker is going to mark your
Like,
code and give you the marks for what you did, right?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whereby somebody is called like you're not able to complete the 100%, what would be
Yeah.
the stand? Will you continue with the ALX or you have to declare? I want to know.
If your monthly threshold at the end of the month, your milestone, like you don't meet the milestone, then you are going to repeat. If you
Okay.
meet the milestone, then you continue.
Okay,
But if
what of
go ahead.
what if you don't finish the Printf project, but your percentage at the end of this month is more than 80? What does that mean?
You pass and go your way. But note that printf carries, I'm sure it carries weight of 5. For those of you who do not know, your project carries different weights. So if a project carries weight of 5, it's like 5 different projects put together. You have to pay attention to that. That means that if you don't do yes, printf projects carries weight of 5. So
5
it's
years.
like
Okay.
5 different projects that you've done put together. So if you don't do well, it's like you didn't do well in 5 projects and it can drastically bring you down. So please let's focus on understanding and being able to do it. And those of you who are scared of repeating the month and redoing it and it's going to be the same thing, that is a wrong perception. Say anytime you repeat something, the end goal is to come back with experience. If you are supposed to defer after the month and come and redo it, you are not starting with 0 experience. Now you have the experience and you have to build upon your experience. So if you are really willing to learn and you want to take your time to learn, hey, you're allowed to take your time to learn. And it's just a matter of when you repeat the month, you now spend more time on the things that you weren't able to cover. So the ones that you covered and you understood, you let those ones slide and you move on to the next one. Then you have more time. So this program that you are doing in 1 year, some people are doing it in 4 years. You understand? If you want to use 4 years to do it, ALX SE will permit you for as long as you are actively doing it. We recognize on, so very soon, maybe in the future, they would bring user activity. The way you see your GitHub commit, you see when you go to GitHub, you see GitHub activity, all those green dots. So there is that on the back end. We get to see all the things you've been doing, whether the last time that you came to the intranet, the last time you committed code, all of those things, we're able to see it. So if you see that you are actively working, but then you have not been meeting the monthly threshold, will let you repeat as many times as you want to repeat, just to understand the thing and go through it. So you can take your time if you want. Like, take your time, understand, become the best at it. Then now you move on. If this month I didn't do well, we have even had someone who said that even though I got the passing milestone for this, I think that I didn't understand these concepts, so I want to go back and learn it, and that's perfectly fine. You repeat the month and do it. It's not a race with other people. Please, it is yourself. You want to become the best version of yourself. So if you think you need more time, please take the time, go over it. But what some of you do is you defer and go and sit home and do nothing. Then you come and start the whole thing again with no remorse from what happened the previous time, and the same thing that you did the last time that you failed, you still do the same thing. So repeating the same thing will not make any difference. But then if I focused on learning these things, I understood this, and because I took my time to learn it, I didn't meet the monthly threshold, and I'm supposed to start over again. I understood all those ones that I took my time on, so I don't have to focus on them again. Now let me just focus on the ones that I didn't understand. Then I'll focus on those ones and finish them. I'll finish month 0. Then I now move to month 1. Do the same thing, like take my time to understand. So that is how it's supposed to be. The fact that you are like, if somebody reaches out to me and say I'm a slow learner, ALS is fast paced, I'm like, take your time, finish it anytime that you want, and you can move on when you are ready to move on. The program shouldn't stop for you because you are a slow learner, because there are other people who are also fast learners and they can finish it up in time. So let them go. If you're a slow learner, here we don't know something of, oh, these are my classmates, so I need to finish with them, otherwise they will see me as unserious. No. At the end of the day, it is you. And I hope you can still hear me. I don't know why today that I was come to host a session, my LAN decided not to work, and now they're telling me my internet is not stable. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, it was cracking earlier.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
I
And
don't
sir,
know.
one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, after this sprint 1, is it possible for like someone to defer so that you'll be able to grasp the whole concept
That's
of C
exactly what
programming?
I've said. At any point in time in ALX SE, you're allowed to defer. But
Okay,
if
but after this sprint 1 and you defer, are you going to restart sprint 1 again, or you just continue from sprint 2?
no, you start all
Same.
over again. The months that you defer, so we are using months. The month that you
Okay.
defer, you are going to start that month again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But what I will recommend is for you to even defer, always wait till the end of the month. Get exposed
on
to
the
all the
month?
things you have to do in that month. So if you are in month
Okay.
0,
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry.
Get exposed to all the things you need to do in month 0. Then at the end of month 0, when you don't meet the threshold, defer. Now you have the exposure.
Okay.
How you tackled it previously that you didn't get the best of it. Now revise your strategy. Which ones did you understand? Which ones didn't you understand? Focus on the ones that you didn't understand. Redo those ones, like, and try and understand them now. By the time the month is done, if you have been able to cover and understood what you need to understand, then you move on. If you don't meet it, please feel free. If you want to use 6 years, you're welcome to use it. But then at the end of the day, you become the best at what you do. And remember, some people will finish and it will take them 6 years to get a job. I mean, I'm not saying ALS SE alone. It is general. It is normal in life. Some people will finish. It will take them a week to get a job. So there's no guarantee that when you finish fast, you get a job fast. Or when you finish first, you'll be the first person to get a job. There's no guarantee like that. Fortunately for me, I didn't even graduate before getting a job. Okay, so it can happen to anybody else. But then it only happened to me because of what I did. Like, I didn't just copy and run through it, you know, learn, make sure I understand it, taught people, and all of those things set me apart because I really knew what I was talking about. If I don't know what I was talking about, I definitely won't be able to teach it. And that is what will separate you. So, hey, you can spend all the time. If you use 3 months to do just month zero, that is good. At the end of the day, do you understand what you did in month zero? Yes, you do. Perfect for you. Next person. Let me call Ayodele. Hey, Lovette, I'll call you next.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to give priority to Lovette. Yes.
Thank you for your teachings and the lectures. We have actually, I've actually been a beneficiary of this training, these teachings.
You're welcome.
My question is that the the concepts in the project material. I don't know if you can permit me to if you can allow me to share my screen. Sir.
Go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, okay, sir. All right, okay. I don't know if you can see my screen.
No. No.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay, all right, sir. Yes, sir. In the general requirements, particularly this bullet here, the one I'm actually tapping on. In the following example, the main.c files are shown, as examples. But the way I actually go about it in the previous projects is that I just create them as file main.c, and then I push them to GitHub, direct, and then I run it, and then it works for me. So, but now I don't really understand what they are doing, what they are trying to say here. That we are going to use our own main.c file. Does it have to does it have to do with the checker at the back end?
Yeah.
Is it that
so the checker never uses your own main.c file. We create our own main.c with various test cases to test your code. So the main.c that we give you is just for you to test your own code. So there's no need pushing it to GitHub. I mean, ideally, when you push code to GitHub, you're expecting that that's what the checker has access to. So they say there is no need. But for me personally, I like to push it because subsequently, if I'm learning on my own and I want to practice, I want to see the main.c that was used to test the code. You understand? So if you push it, it is not going to give you any issues. But then that's not what the checker is going to use. The checker is going to use its own files. We get it.
Okay. So another thing now, this compilation, the second bullet here, as a consequence, be careful not to push any C file containing main function in the root directory of your project.
Yeah.
You could have a test folder containing all your test files. Like now, are they trying to say that we can create a folder in the root directory of the project and then include the main.c file?
Yeah.
Like I don't see that part.
No, exactly what you have said. So you can create a folder within that root file, the root directory, and put all those other code that the okay. So this is C. So we have to be careful because here this thing is trying to compile. Pay attention. Your compilation code. So what I said may not be applicable here. You'd have to separate it in a different folder in order not to conflict, because the checker is going to provide the main.c file, but then this is going to compile all C files. So if you have another main.c file or any other file that contains the main, where is it? Including the main function. So any other file that contains the main function, that would be compiled together with it, and that will give you a problem. Does that make sense?
Okay. So now, so in my root directory, so I have to create the text folder and then put the main.c file. This very one here.
Yeah.
That provided by
Yeah.
ALX.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Otherwise, it's going to conflict with the one that ALS will be using for the checker, and that will be a problem for you. So keep it. You see, you are just using the root directory one. So if you have a folder in there that contains it, this compilation will not take those ones into consideration. But if it is the file is present in the root file, then it's going to pick those ones up, and that will be a problem. Yeah.
thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. Unfortunately, I've not been able to read the messages. I think there are a lot of them in the chat. Yes, next person. Lovett, go ahead before I call someone else.
The problem is similar to that of Emmanuel. My partner told me he deferred this morning, so I've been trying to partner. I've not been able to. Like, I've been calling out the mentors on Slack. They've not heard me.
Please, before I answer your question, please note that the technical mentors work within a specific time period. Like, they are not available 24/7. Okay, that's one thing. Lovett, your line is breaking. I'm struggling to hear you, but I'm just making a comment. Your line is breaking. We can hardly hear you. Please note that technical mentors work. Ideally, their work days is Monday to Friday. So weekends, they will not be as responsive as possible. Like when I started off, I was almost always working. And even before I was sleep, like I'm on my computer till like the time that I'm going to sleep. And I saw that it was impacting my life. I had to set boundaries for myself. So now weekends, I hardly open for intro to SE. We are on Discord. I hardly open Discord on weekend so that I get my weekend for myself and get to do my other things. Okay, so for weekends in particular, or even the time of the day, the mentor has working hours. Like they come to work 8 a.m. I believe most of them come to work 8 a.m. their time zone to like 4 or 5 p.m. their time zone. Beyond that, it is outside their work hours and it's difficult to get to them. So that is why sometimes you will not get them to respond to you. Other times too, there are a lot of requests. Like right now, you have just one mentor, and every one of you is DMing the mentor or tagging the mentor, and they have a lot of questions to respond to. However, again, before I answer your question, for everybody on this call, please do not defer at this point in time. Defer, if you want to defer, please defer at the end of the month when your score didn't reach the threshold, and get yourself exposed to all the projects and the tasks that is ahead of you for the month. Because this person who has deferred on the Printf project will come again and start all over again and meet the Printf project having done nothing about it before and knowing nothing about it. That is really bad. So even if you think you're struggling and you have in mind to defer, please take your time. Focus on learning some of the things that you're learning right now and understanding them. Then have a look into all the new projects that will be released, what is required of you, and or get familiarized with them and chat with people, join live sessions, all of those things. At the end of the month, defer and repeat that month. And now you are coming with some level of experience to work with on all of these things. And Lovett, just as I said earlier, if your partner is no more, you can always go ahead and work on the project alone. Okay, but then make sure you report to the mentor, which you said you have already tried reporting. If they have not responded to you, you have evidence to show that this happened, I reported it. So at the end of the day, if it happens such that you do not get the score because your partner did not show up, there's evidence to now go and challenge that decision. And I believe that for as long as you have 100% contribution, there's no way the checker will deny you the score that you need to have. Okay, it would be to the person's detriment and not yours. So if only you can, please go ahead and do. In fact, don't even wait for a response from your mentor before you start working on the project. Go ahead and start the project. And as I also said earlier, have a discussion with other people, learn from their perspective, and you can even smaller groups discussion. Have those kind of discussion. Remember, the program is largely peer led and understand from your end, but push your code alone, write your own code and push it alone for yourself. And that should sort the problem out. I hope that helps. Bright. Hi, Bright.
Yes, Dr. Ebone. What a pleasure to be with you on the same space. Thank you so much for all what you've explained. But I really didn't get it again when you said between clone and fork. Up to now, I didn't really understand it because I created the repository and you're saying that my collaborator is not supposed to fork it, just supposed to like clone. What's the difference really between clone and how is she supposed to do that for this Printf project? And then when it comes to committing, how will she be able to commit if she doesn't fork the repository? Thank you.
You're welcome. I think you guys should go and watch a video I did on Git and GitHub. I think it was a live stream with some of the learners. You need to understand the flow. If you understand the flow, it becomes easy for you to appreciate this. And as I said, fork means you are creating a copy in your own account on GitHub. So if I go to GitHub right now and I fork a repository, you see, maybe I should just illustrate this for you to see. GitHub. So this particular user account, I don't currently have this in my GitHub account. Let me click on that for you to see. If we check my repos, repository, I don't have that in here. So if I go to this person's account and I click on fork, let's see what happens. Already I have a project called Printf, so it's not allowing me to fork it with the same name. Otherwise, you would have forked it with the same name into my account. But let's go ahead and do this. Now I've created a fork of this person's account. You can see down here, it is written forked from. But let me go back to my repositories and refresh this. You see that now it's part of my repositories and it says forked from this person. So that is what fork is. If you fork the account, if you fork the repo, it becomes part of your own repository. So you get to see it as part of your own repository. And that is not a good practice. That is what you may run into issues with a checker. So please and please again, do not fork a repo. So I'm going to delete this. I said that in real life, there are times that it is okay to fork a repo, like the right thing to do. You come across a repo that you like and you want to have in your account for easy reference, and you should be able to fork it anytime. Delete this repo. Okay. Oh man. Sorry, I just want to delete it, then we'll continue. Okay. Okay, cool. So now you can see that it's no longer, I've deleted it. With a clone, I showed you earlier how to clone the thing. You just copy the link here or here, depending on which of the protocols you are using to clone it. Once you've cloned it, if you are a collaborator, you can easily do your get add, get commit, get push, and it will come directly in here. Because whenever you come to insights, you see the people who are collaborating here. So if right now it is only this person, if this person asks me as a collaborator, I'll begin to see my contributions here. So I'll see my accounts here. I can only push to this if I've been added as a collaborator. So if you've been added as a collaborator, just go ahead, clone it, whether you're using Sandbox or you're using a virtual machine somewhere, whatever you're using, just clone it and push the code and it will work. Does that clarify it for you?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Cloning is downloading to your computer. Forking is copying to your GitHub account. They are two different things. Okay, great. But I think you, if you still do not get everything, please try somewhere on my YouTube channel. You'll find a live stream I did about Git and GitHub. Where I talked about the 4 things that you need to be aware of. So we have the working area, we have the staging area, we have the local repo, and the remote repo. So you need to understand how all of these things work. When you say commit, what does it mean? When you say push, what does it mean? When you say pull, what does it mean? Like all of those things. So go a long way to help you. So try and find that. Okay. Wendu. Hi, Wendu. Yeah. I'm struggling to hear you. Is it coming from me? Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
No, good evening.
Yeah, so my question is this: how can we test our files with the main.c? I've been seeing people say they test their files with main.c. I've actually never done that. I never do that, and I'm just curious as to how we can do that. I always just go through my tasks until I'm able to get, all the requirements to satisfy the to get like the project done.
I'm also curious to know how you test your code to know whether you are doing the right thing or not.
I just run. I look at what it wants me to do, and then I do the pseudocode on the paper, and then like come up with the process of how I'm going to solve it, and then I just code.
That means you don't test the code that you write.
No, I don't test the code that I write. When I code and I send it to my GitHub, then I check my code. So I do one task before I go to the next one, as opposed to
that's a bad practice. That's a bad practice, not necessarily because of ALS, but as a programmer yourself, you should always test your code before pushing to production. You should now see your GitHub account and checking on the intranet as code in production. So always in your development environment, you should be able to test it. And if I don't want to be opening the intranet here, because this video is being recorded, is going to be published, and that means that I have to be very careful before I get flagged for copyright, and that would be a big problem because now I'm a staff. Yeah, but the point is this: your main.c. I wish we could go there, but the main.c is the entry point for every C program. if you are going to compile the code, then it means you need to have a main.c file, right? Unless if you call it, you can call it anything, like on your own, you can call it anything, but there should be a main function in there. And for every task, see, ALX SE, maybe this is something you people don't know. The questions that you have given, they've given you, okay, sometimes it's not so clear, but then the solution is there. Like this is the final state. So they've told you that if I run this main.c file with your code, I should get this output. So that is the solution. And that's all that you are supposed to do. So I want to be able to achieve something like this when I run this main.c file on my end. Remember that the main.c file is, in other programming language, you would have said importing other files into it. It's connected to all the other files that you are going to be creating in one way or the other. Your header files are all connected. So it knows when you have all of these files available. And when you run it, it's going to be able to execute the code from all of those files as well. So as soon as, even before you start the work, make sure you have taken a look at the example they've given you, the main.c file they've given you, and the output. That's the essence of that part of the task. Any task where you have given you example, after you read the tax alone may not make enough sense. So please go down, read the main.c. How was it used? How was the actual file that I gave, how was it used? Okay, this is how it was used. And what was the output when it was used? That means now I go on to create locally, I create my own main.c, but I copy the content from the intranet, the main.c content from the intranet. You see, mostly you see the first thing that we write is cat main.c. It means that we are opening main.c for you to see what is inside the example main.c file that we are using. So just copy that main.c and have it in your local environment. And after you have written your code, go ahead and compile that code, run it and see the outcome. Do they match the outcome that we gave on the intranet? If yes, then you have solved the problem. Now you can push your code. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you should always, please, I understand, like when I also started, I didn't know that. But eventually when I figured out that, oh, so this is the reason why they've been giving us these examples. Oh, this why I didn't know.
I just thought it was to see the output and then like what you're actually meant to get as opposed to copying the contents of main.c and then having it on your local machine.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I fully understand that. Because I was also in the same shoes until I figured it out one time. And it has been very helpful. So sometimes when you say the tax doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense because you haven't seen what is expected of you, which is the final output based on the example that was given. So please consider that thing as a whole. Now I am able to fully understand this because I also create some of the tax, so I know the thinking that goes on when I'm creating that. And that's what I can advise for you. All right. Good luck. Hi.
Thank you.
Welcome. Good luck. Yes. Hi, good luck.
All right, I'm Dr. Obed. Good evening.
Yeah, good
Good
evening.
day. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share this platform with you. My question it relates to Betty and in relation to our project, Printf project, because I noticed I just did this the second task there, and then I noticed I had issues with Betty. I run Betty, but then it's what's saying should not exceed 40 lines. Although I didn't see that particular instruction in the as part of the requirements that was given for the Printf project. But then I ran Betty, I betted my file, and then it says it should not have more than 40 lines. Like I had more than 40 lines there, and so but then I still pushed regardless, and then I discovered that checker checked everything, like it was all checked. So I was going to ask, is it that the Betty doesn't really matter in this Printf project, or?
It
It
does.
does.
It does. It really does. I think I
Yes,
think
so
I think when I did mine as well, there were places that the code I just didn't know how to bring those codes to less than 40 lines. So I had to let Betty have its way. So the thing about Betty for big projects is that they'll set one tax where that tax is just Betty Styles. So
okay.
maybe that place you won't get 100 for that place because Betty has issues, but the others will be more of output. So I eventually had to leave it like that. But the thing is, we won't state requirements for Betty all the time. Now you've been introduced to it. There is a documentation that you've been introduced to. You should be able to figure out what Betty wants and what Betty likes and give it to Betty anytime, any day. If you don't do it like that, then you're going to have issues with it. Yeah. I think I even wrote an article trying to explain Betty in simple man's or layman's English. So you can check it. I think if you Google it, you may even find that the very first article you come across is probably something that I wrote. Let me go to incognito and let's try. But no, let's go to google.com and try Betty style programming. Let's try this. Okay. So interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, anyway, so Betty styles for C programming. This is by me. And as you can see, when you go in here, I try to explain it to an extent. This was June 6th, 2022. I think that was even before I did Printf project. That's interesting. No. I started in May on May 9th. So this was less than a month in ALS when I published this. Yeah. You can take a look at it if you want. And I mean, if you go to my blog, you should find everything there. Blog.elniaobed.com. You should find all of that there. Okay, cool. Let's move on. So I think the hands are done. I don't know, maybe I have to read the chat. But if you have any question, you can just go ahead and ask. If there's something in the chat too that you think I should respond to, please point it out for me because it's going to take me time. Lovette, please go ahead. It's going to take me time for me to go through everyone.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Lovette.
Sorry, my network went bad when I asked my question. I don't know if you answered it before I came back.
Yeah, I did answer it.
About what I can start.
Yeah, so if you can hear me, I said that you should go ahead and start it, and you can even end up being the only one working on it if they do not pair you up, and that is totally fine. But the good thing is that you have laid a report that you have as evidence that will show that this was a problem and I reported it. So you are safe to go ahead and do it. But just as I advise for the other people, you should be able to talk to others, have a discussion with others so that you don't feel lonely, because some of these big projects, if you are lonely and you are struggling, it's really not easy. I've been there before, so I know what I'm talking about. So it's good to associate with people, even though you're going to do it by yourself and push to your own repo by yourself. Yeah. Big lens.
Good evening, Doc. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Please, there is a question I want to ask.
Sure, go ahead.
As demanding as this program is, we have a lot of hours to put in the work to get whatever I want to do. But I want to ask, how do you do it, you specifically, how do you do it to finish your task on time and then go on to write blogs? Like, I don't know how you maintain those times. if at all you can let me know how you break down your times to get that done, I will appreciate it.
I mean, for me, writing and explaining the things is part of my learning. So the moment I start learning, if any of you has followed me for long, you probably will know what my philosophy for learning is. I say that I only know something if I've been able to teach someone who doesn't know it for the person to know. That's when I know something. That's how I measure my knowledge or understanding. I think I'll use understanding in this case. That's how I measure my understanding of anything. So the moment I start learning something, in my mind, I'm learning it so that I'll go and teach. And to go and teach is either me writing a blog post about it. I mean, my blog post is just my notebook. That's how I see it. So if I understand it, the way I understand it is how I'm writing it. And either I write a blog post or I go and record a session teaching those things. That's how I know that I learn and I understand the thing. So it's integrated into my learning process. It's not as if I finish learning everything before I now start thinking about, let me go and do this. The moment I start learning the thing, that's my end goal. Even right now, everything that I'm learning every single day, I'm looking at, okay, how best am I going to be able to impact this to others? Like, what is it if I'm going to explain? So when I'm thinking about something, for me to know whether I understand it, the next thing I'm doing is, okay, if I've been asked to explain it to somebody, how am I going to explain it? All right, this is this. I tried talking. You know how they taught you the rubber duck, talking to the rubber duck in the famous technique, something like that. Like, be able to teach it to others. And as a learner, I try to optimize my time as much as possible. And I did a lot of sacrifices in within that 1 year because I had a lot going on for me. And I know like this is high stake for me. Like I wanted it badly. For those of you who didn't know, I actually left like my profession as a pharmacist to upskill, get tech related skills. So I started off learning what is it, cloud computing. I got my certification there before I found eventually found ALX SE and joined ALS. So for me, I had like a set goal. I need to become, it wasn't I want to, like I needed it. This is a need for me because I would have wasted 2 years of my life doing nothing if I don't become what I've set my mind to. So it was high risk for me, and I don't want to be that kind of laughing stock. I told my colleagues I'm not practicing again. I'm going to learn tech stuff and take that route. Even though I kind of was going to pardon myself if I failed at it, but I just didn't want to fail. So my mindset was you have to do it. Everything possible to get it done. So in that 1 year space, I had to sacrifice a lot of other things. I stopped watching movies, like things that I know will not add immediate benefit to my life. I wouldn't even do it. I was almost always, fortunately for me, I had like a flexible schedule because I was running my own business and I could choose what time to do it. And it was more of a digital agency. So maybe this morning, I'm not working this morning, I'll work later in the night. So let me use this morning to learn, or I'll work this afternoon. Like I had that flexibility. However, every small time I had to leverage that to learn. Like make good use of it. If I'm walking around, I'm going to buy something, I'm driving, like almost all the time, there is something that is going on. I'm probably listening to a YouTube video whilst I am around. Even till now, you find me anywhere, it's either I have a headset, I have an earpiece, or I have an AirPod in my ear because I'm listening to something, even when I'm in the kitchen cooking, like anytime, Charlie. We that is how I optimize my time in order to make more time for the knowledge. But when it comes to the teaching, as soon as I start learning something, I'm always thinking about it and I force myself to do it. It's not fun. That's a reality. It's not fun. It's not fun in that like you have to force yourself to do some of these things sometimes. It's not like every day you feel happy about doing it every day. No, there are times that you feel, oh, I'm tired, but then I need to keep doing it. For instance, at the point where people were always expecting me to come and host sessions, there were times that I was so tired and I was struggling with the concept myself, but people were banking on me, sending me messages. Oh, but when are we having our next sessions? And I didn't want to disappoint the people. And I keep saying that that sort of public accountability kept me going because people were always waiting for me to come and host sessions. I'm pretty sure that if I begin to host sessions for you people, like that's how everybody will be looking forward to it and say, okay, tomorrow Obed is coming. And as soon as I know that you're expecting me, the next thing I have to do is I have to start preparing. Even if I don't have the time, I have to force myself to get some time. Maybe if it is about cutting down my sleep in order to make room for it and all. But all I told myself is just 12 months. After 12 months, all of this will be over. And that is how I was able to push myself through. Most importantly, discipline myself through the 12 months to get to this thing done. Yeah, so that's what I can say. I have something
Yeah,
from Rahima. I would like to read. See what on say. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My own problem is that I do understand the concept at least to a bare minimum, but to apply the understanding of the concept to ALS project has been difficult. Like understanding the problem of the tax is what I need help on. I believe it's when a problem is understood, one can know how to solve it and think about different angles to solve it. If it's as if the projects are something else entirely. I would agree with you, but then also disagree with you. So understanding it obviously is part of the whole process of learning, right? But most of the time, the expectation of learners, and I think it stems from the fact that the schools that we have attended so far is mostly okay. This they taught us A and they quiz us on A, so we are okay with it. But then in real life, it doesn't happen like that. You are taught A, but when you go and you are going to solve a problem in real life, there's a problem you've never met before. So if you've been taught already, that wouldn't be a problem for you. Okay, so for instance, I've learned say Next.js. I've learned how to use Next.js, but now I need to build an application. Let's say I need to build a clone for Zoom and I'm going to use Next.js. It's not something I've done before. It's not because I know Next.js. It means that building Zoom is like easy. I have to now figure it out. How am I going to use Next.js to build Zoom? That's how it works in real life, you know? So that's exactly what you kind of get in ALX SE, where you are exposed to the concept. You need to learn this concept. But when you come to the task, you have to apply. So it's not a matter of because you read this concept. It is now use that knowledge that you've gotten from reading those concepts, apply those knowledge to solve this problem. But I think majority of us leave out that example and final output that they give us. And that is the solution to the problem. So you have been given this task. For you to understand the task, you need to see that this is how they used it. This was the solution. So all that I am looking for is to write the code that will provide this solution. That is all. So even if you don't understand all the English that has been written there, you now need to go through, okay, the example they have given here, they use this and this and this. That means that I should write my code such that if it is used this way, it will give me this outcome. And now go work on that. Use the code or the problem that you've been given, write your code such that it will give you this solution that is down there. If after going through that you still do not understand, it is time for you to discuss this thing with others and get their perspective on it so that together you can brainstorm and try figuring it out and solving it. So I think that is what I can say to that. Good luck. Please go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask again, when does Kimba check our code? Is it after we've done or while checking, or when exactly does it check?
I'm laughing. I'm just wondering why you are concerned about Kimba. Why are you concerned about Kimba? Are you scared that Kimba will flag your work? That's because I feel that just as I've said before, if you are doing the work by yourself and you're not copying anything from anywhere, there's no reason to even think about Kimba in the first place. Like, I mean, maybe I was fortunate because my time there was no Kimba. But I feel if you are really doing the work by yourself, you shouldn't worry about Kimba. And the truth is that I really don't know even know exactly when Kimba is released, right? Like I have no idea personally. We have talked about it a couple of times at work. I mean, but personally, I'm not a fan of Kimba. And I even when we start having a conversation, I'm thinking differently. I'm like, why are people cheating? Like, why? Like, what can we do for them? So for me, that is all. That's why yesterday I had to go and get you that concept page and say, okay, maybe they are not getting enough resources. Let me produce enough resources. So that's all I'm thinking about. So I'm not really a fan of if you cheat your way through, at the end of the day, it is you. If it's left to me alone, I'll let everybody cheat your way through. Like if you want, just go. At the end of the day, who will you come and blame? But now it's because ALS has a brand to protect, and maybe you cheated your way through. Eventually, you finish and you don't know a thing. Somebody based on the fact that you came from ALS gave you the chance, and they find out that you are not good, and now they generalize it and say ALS students are not good. That is spoiling the brand. That's what ALS wants to prevent, and that's why they put in measures to prevent cheating. Otherwise, I think every one of us should be knowledgeable enough and self-aware enough to say that, hey, I'm definitely not cheating my way through because it will be cheating my own self. I want to understand these things. If it takes me a couple of times to do it, I'm ready to do it and learn. Okay, so I don't have an answer to that question when Kimba. That's it. I may have an idea, but I really don't care about it, so I don't get involved in those discussions. Sorry that I couldn't give you a exact answer, but please focus on getting the work done yourself, pushing your own code, being able to defend the code that you write. Like you should own every code that you push to get out in your account. Say, hey, I wrote it, I can defend it anytime, any day. Call me anywhere. If Kimba flags you for code that you have written and you can defend it, hey, you go and discuss it and say, yeah, I did it myself. This is what I did. This. I know. Explain it. And once you've been able to defend the code that you've written, I think every human being will appreciate it and let you go. Hi, Jack. Good luck. I hope that helps anyway. Hi, Jack.
Hey, hello.
Yeah.
I have a little question. I'm still confused, by the way.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, to say concerning the tasks, let me say I've done the task one, and so I just send my collaborator the code,
Okay.
like to just push it on his GitHub. So in the good practice, so
Sorry, ready. You said you've done tax one and you sent it to your collaborator to push it to his GitHub. Why didn't you push it to GitHub yourself?
Okay, let me say okay, I've done it, and then so I push it. So what is my collaborator supposed to do?
Oh, so that's why I said at the end of the day, the two of you are supposed to discuss how you want to approach it. So if you are dividing the work between yourself, who is handling what and who is handling what. So if you push this one to GitHub, then if that has been solved, that's fine. You proceed with whatever you want to do. The other person to proceed with what they want to do or they are supposed to do, and you are all pushing. Once you are pushing And I've already told you that before you push, you always have to pull the recent updates before you push yours, so that you have like the full updates and you don't have any merge conflicts. And the
Yeah.
same thing applies to your collaborator. They should also always pull the updates from your end before they push this. But most importantly, the two of you should be communicating and understanding how you want to work together, who is doing what and who is doing when, are you intending to meet or not. Like all of those things should be discussed, but essentially it's a matter of pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. So if I pull and I push my updates and my collaborator also pulls and pushes updates, then we'll have like a coherent work on GitHub. At any point in time, it is up to date, and when we have solved the problem, that is all. I don't know if that's helpful.
Okay. How about when because of the contributions, when the checker is checking, because that's where.
No, if you are contributing, if both of you are pushing,
Yeah.
it's counted as your contribution. And I already showed you how we get to know who has contributed what.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you
yeah.
open any repo, you check insights, you'll be able to see how much contributions you have made and how much. And I think at the end of the day, it's a matter of both of you working, and it's going to score you. I don't know if you people paid attention to the scoring in ALS. So contribution, the percentage of contribution is added in calculating the mark. So who is bringing up whiteboard? So the contribution, if you are contributing fully, or that's required 50-50, you get your marks. Okay. But if one person alone does it and the other person doesn't do anything, then the other person who didn't do anything will not get the mark.
Okay, okay, okay. So meaning I can do the all work, and then what my professor needs to do like is just to git pull and then add, right?
Yeah, he should also pull and add his own, like do his own work. And that means you should also pull when you want to do your own work. But make sure you are communicating with each other. You should know exactly what your colleague has done, and he should also know what you have done. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Welcome. So in the chat, Dell says, what's the steady with me time and day again, please? So I said that on weekdays, so Monday to Friday, I usually host steady with me sessions on YouTube. That's around GMT time. That would be 1 p.m. to somewhere like 6 p.m. or 7. So averagely we are live for like 5 hours. Yeah. But sometimes we go for like 6 hours. And usually what we do there is uh try and have discussions during the break sessions, and we have focus sessions where everybody is learning and the likes, and everyone is uh welcome to join in. Yeah. Why is my ALS score reducing even when I did all my projects before the deadline? I mean, there could be a lot of things accounting for your score reducing. Remember that the score is an average of a lot of things, right? And some of the projects have different weights. So depending on the weight of a project and how much you score in that project, it can affect your average. And also there are some projects that have advanced tasks. For that matter, they are like 200 over 200. And there are some projects that do not have advanced tasks. So they are 100, or there are some optional projects which are just 100. And all of those things will affect the average. It won't be constant. And please don't fool yourself. The score is not over 200. The score is not over 200. Like, you think eventually you should get something over 200. That is not how it is. It is an average. So it keeps changing. At the end of the day, you find that at one point in time, it is around 180. But then if it is around 180 and you do another project, which is just over 100, that is going to bring the score down. Okay, so just focus on per tax. Did you do well per tax? If there is an obvious like decline, maybe checker refused to check a particular code, or maybe checker checked that specific project but gave you less score, then you can complain. But for the average, these are the nuances when it comes to calculating average, because your denominator is always increasing, but it's not a fixed increase depending on whether the project is 200 or 100. If a project is 200, then how much did you also score? That becomes your numerator. We are adding on to that. So it's just adding everything. So if you want to confirm whether that is right or not, you can sit down and start cumulating all the scores you've gotten and finding the average yourself and trying to compare if there is a problem. Yep. um just going through the chats, but if anyone has a question, please go ahead and ask. I just want to clear every. Yeah, love it. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Yesterday we did an evaluation quiz. I think
Okay.
I've seen a lot of companies also on Slack. So when I finished my quiz, I actually got everything. So
Yeah.
this morning when I woke up, I found out that it has reduced to 65%. And the one I did for month zero, that is my scores for month zero, also reduced. It also reduced also by 65% too. And I didn't open any tab. I
But
worked with that same tab. I don't know what happened.
did they give you like initial score this and the current score is this for the evaluation? Was that the case?
No, like they already put 100 yesterday. Like even the Monzero own was already Monzero has passed a long time ago. So definitely, I was surprised that this morning they changed both my Monzero score and Month One score, and everybody has been complaining on Slack. So I thought I was the only one. So I was trying to think, what did I do? But I was like, I
Oh.
opened only one tab.
I mean, if everybody is complaining and it's not just you, then obviously once it's a cohort wide complaint, something would be done about it. I mean, they will look into it. If there is a problem somewhere, that will be fixed. But if it is with regards to just evaluation quizzes and you are aware that if you go outside that screen, the number of minutes away from the screen where you are doing the quiz will amount to a certain amount of score that you are going to lose. So somebody who goes away for say 1 minute will lose. I don't know the exact calculation that it does, but will lose less number of marks from somebody who goes away for like 5 minutes. So somebody can get 100 initially, but then because they were away for very long, their score will be zero for evaluation. And that is how the evaluation quiz work. But if it is a general problem, then definitely your mentor would have to pick it up and they'll look into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But why did I have to go to month zero? That was if it was only month one, but I knew that I didn't open any tab because obviously there are past questions, all the quiz for the month. So what's the point of going to other tabs? But why did they now go to month zero again? That was what made everybody even shocked. Like I could have my scores are okay, so I won't even bother. But when I saw they went back to month zero, I was really shocked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that you never know. These are software, right? You're training to become a software engineer. Anything can happen. You are doing an update somewhere and it affects some update somewhere. I'm not justifying anything right now. I'm just saying that if it is a cohort wide problem, then they would have to pick it up and investigate what the problem was. So I can't say right now that somebody intentionally went to change something. No. But then if it is a cohort-wide problem, then it's something that would be investigated and has to be investigated. So the other thing you can do is you can send me screenshots, I mean, proof, because I can't just go and talk without proof. So you send me proof that this is this is that, and describe the problem. Then I can pick it up and make a follow up on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do just that on Twitter. I'll DM you.
All right, so yeah. Oh, any other question? I'm still trying to go through the messages to see if I've missed anything. Okay, so if it's a general issue, yeah, definitely. We'll look into it. Big Lens, please go on.
Yeah, thank you, Doc. There was a guy earlier, he spoke about him putting like 16 hours to this thing, and he's not getting it right. And we told him to DM him so that you can have some discussions with him. I don't know if I can hop on that too. So actually his story is like his still is familiar with mine. I put on a lot of hours too, and I'm having problems. So I don't know if I can join him.
Yeah, that's fine. I would prefer, so I wouldn't want, because I struggle with time right now, I wouldn't want to like meet this person and meet this person and meet this person. So if it's possible for you to connect with him or whoever is interested in that particular discussion, and yeah, so that one person becomes, or two people become like the mouthpiece of that, and we engage and arrange the time, then we'll all meet. I think that would be good for us all, because I really struggle with time. Like you don't you don't know, people see me and they're like, how do you do it, how do you do it? But man, sometimes it's just a whole lot of sacrifice. Like right now, as I'm sitting here, you can't imagine the number of school assignments. Ideally Saturdays I'm supposed to go to class the whole week, but fortunately for me this week there's no class. But I have assignments, and I even have assignment due Monday, but I'm here. So yeah, that's what I will appreciate. If you all come together, hey, I'm happy to have that discussion anytime that we're able to fix. Yeah.
Thank
Sorry,
you,
sir.
Doc.
So regarding that one, this one that he just mentioned, can I ask people on the group, those that are interested, like those that are complaining that genuinely spend, not because some people might say they spend it and be pressing other things, genuinely spend up to 12 hours a day studying and can't grabs, maybe they can come together, then DM you, maybe one person DM you on their behalf.
Yeah,
I
I
think most
mean,
of you are on the WhatsApp.
I would appreciate it if I'm just chatting with someone, just one person. The same way that to get here, it was just you that I was communicating with. I'd appreciate that, because I get a lot of messages in my DM, so it's very difficult to respond to everyone on time. But if it is just one person coordinating it, I mean, that is great. I really,
Okay,
hey,
I also suggest that you meet Bello. Bello has complained about this issue to me before. Bello Rahimad also, I think she's here. She has always been complaining. So maybe I think she should, maybe Bello, maybe you can organize them. I think.
all
Bello, are
right.
you here? But she's always complaining about this thing to me, and I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I'm happy to always have a discussion for as long as we have time. I think initially it was late, I guess. The name on the account that spoke up was late. So I'm happy to have the discussion with any of you, but then I wouldn't want to have that. Man, I don't think I'll have that time, especially getting to 20. Today is what, 16th. I have like 3 different assignments due 27th of this month, and one is me taking a full online course and submitting my certificate to school. So there's a whole lot for me this coming week. So if only you can gather yourself together I mean, I'm happy to have the discussion. Today, for instance, I could have picked up some other discussions, but and meetings, but I decided to ignore. In fact, even as I'm doing a session, I've missed like 3 different calls already, and I just had to end all of them. So you can imagine, this is just one of those sacrifices. Once I come, I come. So yeah, do that for me, and I'll appreciate it. Okay, there was one other. Says when an assessment quiz is released, what is the duration required to complete it? I think depending on the assessments, the duration may be a bit different, but I can speak to how we usually do it. So what we usually do, okay, this one I am speaking for intro to SE because that one I release it. So intro to SE, what I do is that I make the quiz available for 24 hours. That means if you take it within that period, it's being marked over 100. If you take it after the 24 hours, your score is not marked over 100. I think that's like you've gone past the deadline. So it's probably, I don't know the exact value, but it will be marked way lesser. But when you start the quiz, mostly for the intro to SE, I set it to, because I always ask them 20 questions per quiz. And for them, they do the quiz every week. So intro to SE, every week, Friday, there is a quiz that they take. And each quiz is 60 minutes for that 20 questions that I ask them. So it varies, but I think this is a common theme. Most of the quizzes are 1 hour long, but it's available for 24 hours if you want to score the full or be graded out of the full mark. It's 24 hours. That is what I know. Yeah, so I think I've answered this other question. Let me go down. Yeah, I mean, Oliver, I like the points you have made, and I've already told you guys that this thing is not a solo kind of thing. You should be able to communicate with people, meet up with people, and learn together. That's one of the best things you can do for yourselves. Okay, so I got my tribe through showing up and teaching people, but then it could be that, hey, this week you are the one leading us, next time this other person is leading us, all those kind of things, right? So it will be a good thing for you to meet and discuss things together, and that facilitates the learning, especially for those of you who are able to learn very well in groups. Even if you are not able to learn very well in groups, I think you should still give it a try and challenge yourself to learn, and even challenge yourself to lead some of these sessions, because then it helps you improve your other soft skills, which is equally important for a software engineer. If you're a software engineer, you can't communicate, that is a bad one, because when you are interviewing, you're going to be asked to communicate, explain your thoughts. So for you to get into that state and be able to build the flow, you called me here today to answer questions like like the way they call you to court, right? Imagine if I couldn't articulate myself, how will I be able to handle the session? And that is one skill that we learn throughout. And because I've been doing these things over and over and over, it becomes easy for me. And I'm not scared to jump into any technical interview to go and explain my thought process, because this is what I've been doing every time when I'm teaching people. Okay, so I highly recommend that if you get the opportunity, hey, you don't have to be like 1,000 people. You can be 3, 4, 5, 6. When I started my group, we were like 9 people. When I started, and the group grew to more than 1,000 people, right? But I started just with the mindset of we are 9 people from Ghana and we are joining the ALX SE, and they were all members of one group that I was leading. So previously I used to have a group called, I still have it, but I don't do anything. It's called Digital School Academy, where I was teaching various digital skills that I know. And when I applied to ALS and go through, I sent a link there and say, hey, those of you who are interested should also apply. Those who applied and got it, together with myself, there were 9 of us. So I created a group for us and I said, okay, this is where we'll be meeting for our PLDs and having our discussions. And that's how I started. And eventually we grew the group to more than 1,000 people, right? So, I mean, I'm an advocate for that. Please go ahead and help each other. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. You're welcome. Okay, so okay, I think I've covered all the questions in the chat. If you ask the question in the chat and it skipped me and I haven't answered it, please unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, we are coming to an end of the session. Oh, this kind of question. Yeah, so oh my, sorry. Bel Rahima, right? Like I answered your question earlier. I don't know if you didn't hear it. I've seen that you've dropped the question multiple times, but I added you earlier. Please, who was the guy? Yeah, that if you understand the concepts and you are not able to apply it to the work, I answered it earlier and I mentioned that it's usually a case of, I mean, it's a normal situation to say that I know this thing, but now I'm left with how to apply it and I don't even understand exactly what I'm expected to do. It's normal. But then in ALX SE, majority of the time, the understanding will come from you understanding the example that they have given and the kind of output that they have given. So maybe you haven't paid much attention to that, but start focusing on that, trying to understand, okay, this is the example they gave, this is the output. How do I write whatever they want me to do to be able to get this? Without that example and without that sample solution, you would be lost, because in programming, there are different ways of solving the same problem. We may end up using one way and the checker will fail you and you wouldn't understand why. But essentially, the example there is supposed to guide you. This is the example we've given you. For that matter, go ahead and use this to help you solve the problem. If you have still gone through that example and seen how they are doing it, but you still do not understand anything, then it's time to discuss with your colleagues. Discuss, what do you think about this thing? I think this, but I don't know why they are saying this, blah blah blah. And I always say that anytime you say you don't understand something, please have your questions ready. What are the questions? Why do you not understand? So ask yourself the question. I do not understand this thing. Why don't I understand? Is it because I've not learned something that is required for me to understand this? Or is it because of this English that they've written that is confusing me? Or is it because? So find a because. Then those questions are what you are now looking for answers to. So that even if you are using ChatGPT to help you understand, you are going to ChatGPT with those because I've been given this task, but I don't understand. I'm confused because this. I don't understand what they are saying because you should always have that question. Please try your best to get anytime. That's how I've trained myself. If I say to myself that I don't understand, okay, sometimes there are the situations that I don't understand because I haven't read the rest. I don't understand because I am yet to learn this thing. But then, if not, I always want to find out why I do not understand or why I'm saying I don't understand. And it helps me a lot because I have straightforward questions that I'm looking for answers to. And I hit them right on the nail. And okay, yeah, I don't understand this because of this. So let me find, why is this? How do I get to know this? Then I move on with it. All right. I hope that helps. VI or Emacs, please. Emacs is for, it's for my boss and his people. I'm not part of them. uh, oh, you have mentioned my boss's name here. Okay. Yeah, I know. All right. So, yeah, I think on that note, we are good to bring the session to an end. Yeah. Hi, Helen. Hey. Hey. Interesting. Okay. So, Helen, do you want to say something?
Thank you.
Oh, no. I mean, yeah, Lovette, you're saying something?
Thank you so much, Dr. Obed.
You're
We
welcome.
really appreciate.
You're welcome. How many hours have we done? We started at
Like
10.
almost 4 hours.
Almost 4 hours. I like talking. I see.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. God bless
You're welcome. Yeah. So, hey guys, every time, any day, I'm happy to assist when I can. Right. And do how to pass by one of the days. Almost every weekday, I am available on YouTube. I mean, the more reason why I did that is because a lot of people try to reach out to me and they think it's difficult to get me. And I mean, it's the case because I'm struggling with time. So I decided that I'll use my break times to be chatting with people. And that's what I do on YouTube. So you're happy. I mean, you're welcome to pass by anytime to ask your questions. Helen, are you saying something? I don't know why. Or is it the child playing with the child is playing with Zoom? Interesting. Yeah, so thank you so much for having me here.
So
I
you have a
mean,
question. Someone just
oh, you have a question.
no, not me. Ola, you didn't read Ola.
Where is it?
Say that. Please, I have a question. I was once flagged by Kimba in my
Oh,
print project in a previous course. Is it true I might be scored 0 now?
no, 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 no. If it was a previous one, the flag will be there, but you won't be scored 0. So the flag will be on your account forever. That's the reality. It's going to be on your account forever. And that's why sorry. That's why we advocate that, hey, like please desist from any sort of cheating, because anytime you reach out to ALX SE to request for a recommendation letter or anything of that sort, if you have a flag, that's a problem. Okay. So as much as possible. I mean, for yours, the harm has already been done. If you repeat again, you are going to be evicted from the program and you may not be able to apply to any ALS program in the next 5 years. So please and please again, try your best. Even if it is not you, make sure that your partner is not cheating. I mean, at the end of the day, if you think your partner is going to be cheating, create your own repo and submit your own work solo and report to your technical mentor. But don't get involved, because if the flag comes on your account, it's going to be there throughout the program. So no, you're not going to be scored 0. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for the audience. I usually appreciate these things. And when somebody said, even your videos are like 2 hours long, I was like, you people, you don't know. You people, you don't know. Those sessions we host are usually more than 2 hours. We record just the 2 hours. So before the session, we have our conversation. You remember when I joined here before the recording, we started having a chit chat. That's what we usually do. And then after the session too, we have our discussion. So yeah, I mean, and I know very well that the videos are long. Sometimes I even wonder if people are able to take their time and watch it. And I ask myself, if I was the one, will I be able to watch it? But and I know it's not easy, And I don't force anybody to go and watch any of those videos. No, like if you benefit from it and you're watching it, that's fine. Otherwise, what I recommend is that please try and speed up some of the things, especially if it is something I'm talking about in a video that you already understand. Okay, if you already understand it, please don't waste the extra time in going through it. But sometimes, I mean, I may add some flesh to it somewhere that will change your perspective about it or add onto it. So for me, what I've done over time is whenever I'm watching videos, I try to speed it up. So I don't, the playback speed, I started with using 1.2. That helps me finish videos faster than they are. Because when I'm teaching, I take my time. You see how I'm speaking right now. Ideally, I should be speaking very fast, but when I'm speaking, I take my time to speak so that I don't speak very fast, so that everybody will understand me. You see that thing? I I take my time. I take my time to speak so that you all understand me, right? But you can watch the video at a top speed. And I've been practicing with 1.2 for a while, and now I've switched to 1.5. So now when I'm watching YouTube videos, I watch it at the times 1.5 speed. And that helps me. If it is a 9 minutes video, I can watch it in less than 6 minutes. So if you're watching, say, a 2 hours video, instead of doing 2 hours, you are doing it less than 2 hours, way less than 2 hours. Okay. So you should probably start that because there's a lot of content to consume around this time. And the brain can adjust. That's the truth. Like if you stick to it, the brain can really adjust. So start somewhere watching 1.2. And if you're watching a particular video, please, you're not bound to watch the whole video. Like look for the specific parts that you're interested in and focus on those parts. That's the most important thing. And that will be my final advice to you all. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time and I look forward to an opportunity to meet you all one day. Like one day, meet you all in person. I'll be very grateful to have that opportunity. Otherwise, as we go along, I will also be happy to make out some time to have conversations like this and any sort of conversations with you all in the near future. Thank you. And Lovett, over to you. Thank you for bringing me here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sal. Look forward to more sessions like this.
You're welcome. All right.
Okay, guys, welcome to the group. I was post his YouTube link on the